families at home to care for. In other headlines, a group known as Americans for Fairness in Awarding Journalism Prizes is asking all Americans to help The Onion receive a Pulitzer Prize. An anonymous man says he will murder 50 innocent people if The Onion is not awarded a Pulitzer. And look at it, it's beautiful. Look, just give us a Pulitzer already, okay? This is humiliating. For more prize-worthy stories and videos, go to theonion.com/review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Welcome to Free Talk Live. And you can call in to the show at any point in time. You can call in and bring up whatever is on your mind. And the number is 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. With you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
And Colin.
And we have a lot to talk about. I brought Colin on specifically because he survived Mexico.
Yeah, I got a really bad sunburn, though.
You don't look that bad.
No,
You don't
I
look
don't.
that
I don't.
bad.
I actually did kind of get a little sunburnt on the last day because I went out the most. That's because me and Grodsky's son went out to actually take photos and videos of the cartel stuff in Puerto Vallarta.
You didn't look sunburned, but I get the joke and everything. Like, you're trying to say people freaked out for no reason or for not good enough reason. You want to start talking about it? Want to start off by talking about it?
Yeah, I guess. Are you going to ask me questions to guide me through this, or am I just supposed to? I'm kind of joking here.
Maybe we should actually inform the listener who maybe doesn't know what happened in Puerto Vallarta, and apparently a dozen Mexican states. I heard that today in the news, and I was like, that happened in a dozen Mexican states? Well, you mostly heard about Puerto Vallarta.
Well, yeah, you heard about Puerto Vallarta because tons of tourists are there, and so you heard about that in English-speaking media because so many American and Canadian tourists are there. But it was all over the state of Jalisco and in some other states as well, but primarily in Jalisco, Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta. I'm trying to remember what other cities, but
in Puerto Vallarta's in Jalisco.
Jalisco, yeah. And so yeah, they went to capture, and I guess they wound up killing the head of the cartel, Mencho, and so the cartel the next day basically kind of retaliated. And some people say it's like a temper tantrum. They go out and they
exactly. That's what's weird about it. It's like. They didn't kill anyone on purpose or anything. It just feels weird. It's like a temper tantrum, literally. Yeah,
they go out, they take a bunch of cars, and they block off roads with the cars, like make them, sit across the road, and then light them on fire and stuff like that. And then they targeted like a couple of businesses here and there, certain ones. I think the Costco got hit. Some Oxxos. Oxxo's like a 7-Eleven convenience store place. They're all over Mexico. Like they're literally like every block almost. Not quite, but it's like that. You'll be in a city and you'll see them just everywhere.
So pretty much a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, basically. They don't usually have gas. I've only seen like one or two where there was a gas station next to them or attached. I don't know how they do stuff down there because the gas stations and all of the gas and oil is all like a nationalized Pemex company. The government runs the oil production down there.
And Jay was making the point that that's like the place to go and get cash.
It's not
what
the
does
only.
he mean by get cash? Well, just explain what he means by that.
So I'm not sure exactly what he means by get cash. I know he was talking about some other stuff that they do there because Jay always goes there to get his SIM cards when he's in Mexico. I guess they maybe they do like Western Union stuff there. It's like a convenience place, like ATMs and stuff like that. But they weren't like hitting a bunch of them. I think I only know of like 2 that got hit, and I only saw pictures of 2 that were burnt down. So it wasn't like they literally targeted every single OXXO in the area. And if anything, you never really know why they hit a particular building or not. It could be because they have a feud with one of the workers there or the owner of that place or whatever. And that might be the reason why they, go after any particular building, or something like that. But yeah, no, there were a lot of people saying a lot of crazy stuff. I haven't got any corroboration on any of that.
Like the whole thing that all the cabbies and all the Uber drivers were executed one by one apparently seems to be false. They're saying that in all of the day where they were having their temper tantrum, that apparently they only know of one person that was killed, and it unfortunately was a pregnant woman that was like caught in crossfires.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I guess two people. But
yeah, that's all the official news that I can find anywhere. And I don't know. I think Jay was getting a little confused because years ago in Acapulco, like the cartel. And here's the thing about cartels. Cartels are just like mafias. They're kind of like gangs. They're like it's just people who have an interest and are going to use violence to get that interest done. And so it's not always that there's the cartel.
The specific one that was temper tantruming and their leader was killed was called the New Jalisco. Wait, what?
New Generation Jalisco Cartel. Yeah. But like what I mean to say by that is like if all of the cabbies in one area decide we're gonna like join together and be exclusive and you can't run a cab in our area,
and if you do, like, we'll kill you.
Then that's a cartel. And whether or not they're
like. It's starting to sound like the U.S. government might be a cartel.
and then it's not, they may join up with some higher up, thing, some higher up, bigger cartel and be like, okay, we're working together in some way. So Acapulco years ago, Uber was trying to set up there and the local taxi people didn't like that. So some Uber drivers, I guess, were killed. So I think,
so just like the Family Guy episode?
I didn't see that one.
Oh, I think it's the Family Guy episode, or it's American Dad. It's one of the Seth MacFarlane shows. But I think it's Peter becomes a Uber driver, and he gets cornered in an alley by all the cabbies of Quahog, and they beat him with pipes and stuff.
Oh wow!
And tell him like, you're not allowed to Uber around here.
Yeah, yeah. So I think Jay was like kind of maybe getting confused between that thing that had
I don't think
happened.
he was getting confused. I think there's just a lot of like people reporting things around and being like, "Hey, this happened last time. I bet that's what these gunshots were." Because he wasn't confused that he heard gunshots. Like
no,
he was hearing gunshots.
So here's one thing to say.
I think it was just terrorism. Honestly.
Whoever we're talking about, whether we're talking about Jay or any other people at the conference down there, or even like it was like your random aunt in Oklahoma sending you messages being like, they're gonna go door to door tonight. I'm like, what the heck do you know about this? You don't know Spanish, you're not reading Spanish sources, you've never been to Mexico, and you're the one trying to tell me what I need to be doing down here in Mexico. And like, this is crazy. But the thing that I'll say is without witnessing something, you can never know the context of it, and without that you don't really know what's happening. So I don't doubt that Jay knows what gunshots sound like. But if he didn't see the people shooting the guns and see what they were shooting at, then he doesn't know what it was. It could have been people shooting in the air. It could have been people shooting to make noise to scare people.
Yeah, that's why I always said it's probably just was terrorism now, because it's like Jay, where he was standing when he was on the phone with us, was hearing like every like 10 seconds at some points like a gun going off, and that would make my mind wander too.
Yeah.
Coupled with the fact that like apparently they have killed cabbies and Uber drivers before.
Yeah. But so far I couldn't find anything about that. Now the interesting thing is the next day. So my flight wasn't canceled; it wasn't delayed at all. I was able to fly out at exactly my scheduled time the very next day on Monday. And also, it's like kind of funny. It's like, again, it goes to people like kind of freaking out and losing their mind and not knowing what's going on. And then this whole like safety first, if it saves just one life, oh, let's do it this way or whatever. And so, of course, that's a cultural thing too. And definitely like, Western cultures, Northern cultures, white cultures, let's say, are definitely think that way more than other cultures, where it's more like, yeah, we need to get back to work. So it was like all of the various American airlines, and I don't mean American Airlines, although American Airlines was one of them that canceled their flights. Yeah, they were the ones canceling, and Aeromexico apparently was having their flights less canceled. They had them canceled the day of, but I think they were.
Well, that's because like the airports shut down too.
Yeah,
so it made sense.
And that was done by the order of, I think, the governor for Jalisco. He ordered them to be closed. So. Now, in Guadalajara, they actually lit an airplane on fire, apparently.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jay also saw an airplane landing just one towards like the evening. I think he was on the phone with us when he said that. I don't remember now, but it makes me think like they shut down the airports for the common people, but they flew their own with military personnel or whatever, and it's a little messed up, you know?
Well, and that could have been. You'll see that in Mexico, in different places. So, like, Mexico City Airport has, like, their military have a hangar there. And they have multiple, like, different types of, like, military and police things. They have their version of a National Guard. They have the what do they call them? I want to call them Marines, but I don't know that it translates and it means the same thing, because they're not like doing amphibious assaults or anything like that, like American Marines do. But they have like the Marines, the National Guard, they have like different stuff. But I've seen those different hangars that they have. And so the military base in Puerto Vallarta is like at the actual airport. So it's very possible that they were flying in people from other parts of Mexico.
But I just think I wanted you to come on, not specifically just to criticize our friends for being scared of something that was genuinely scary. But I like what you were saying to me when you were saying, like, we're the libertarians, we're supposed to be the people that don't just lose our minds at the first.
Oh, yeah, there were. I won't say the names of all the various celebritarians who were at an Acapulco who were acting ridiculous. There was one guy who's like posting. He's like, I paid an ambulance to drive me out of here. Like, he's hidden the ambulance and pretended to be a body or something.
That
and
really
it's
happened?
Like,
somebody said that?
Somebody said that. I don't know if they did it, but they said it. And
but were they out?
I guess so. I haven't checked back in with him. I sent him a couple messages. I haven't heard back from him. I don't know if it's just because I'm messaging him on the wrong platform. He's somebody I know.
Well,
again, I'm not going to say names.
That's interesting, but we do have someone on the line, so let's take their call, and then we can get back to this. Or maybe they want to talk about this. Tom in New Hampshire, what did you want to talk about?
Yeah, on the 22nd of February, in the wee hours of the morning, saying that this guy was driving north on US 3 in the town of Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. And that ends at the Canadian border, by the way, at Chartierville, Quebec.
I've never heard of it.
Pittsburgh, well, apparently Immigration and Customs Enforcement, well, they have a list of 287G partner agencies, and they spelled Pittsburgh wrong. They spelled it with an H, like it was Pennsylvania. But Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, is the only New Hampshire town that borders Canada. And this guy was arriving at the boundary when the port of entry was not open, and the Border Patrol agent right behind him activated emergency lights. So the guy got out and they're saying he fired at the Border Patrol agent, who returned fire and shot the guy. And now the guy is facing up to 40 years for the violent crime of shooting at a Border Patrol agent and missing.
Why did he do that?
I don't know, but why would he do that? But it's another reason, they accuse me of advocating violent crimes against law enforcement. That's crazy. I say don't commit that violent crime of shooting at a law enforcement goon and missing. Okay? And now, another example was back on 7 July of 2016. There was a demonstration in Dallas, Texas, and against police brutality. And
so the police showed up and brutalized people for that?
No, the police showed up there, and they just didn't want it to turn into a riot. And so they were there, and a sniper opened fire and on the cops. And,
I remember that.
Where was this?
It was in Texas.
He shot at a cop and missed, and wound up shooting a demonstrator. Her name is Shatamia Taylor. She went there to protest against police brutality, and her first order of business as the shots started ringing out was to protect her children and rush them to safety. She got a gunshot wound in the leg. And so that's another reason not to shoot at a cop and miss, because you could wind up shooting somebody that does not deserve it, as it seems to have happened there. And you do
that
that,
bullet to stop in some way, is what you're saying.
You do that, you're just as wicked as the Los Angeles Police Department. On 23 December of 2021, the Los Angeles Police Department brutally gunned down a 14-year-old girl who was in a department store fitting room, all excited for her quinceañera, but she never did make it to the age of 15 because the cop gunned her down, shooting at a suspect and missing, and the cop didn't even see the girl. That's the idea of a fitting room. She was trying on a dress because she was all excited for her upcoming quinceañera.
Wow.
And she was killed, and no charges were filed there either. So, you're just as bad as that. The guy in Texas, he did shoot 12 cops. He killed 5 of them, but that's no good if you also wind up missing. What's the point of fighting back against police brutality if you're going to commit sniper brutality and wind up shooting a demonstrator? So don't shoot at a cop and miss. And the other thing you don't want to do is this happened on 21 June of 2021 when a freedom fighter in Arvada, Colorado, decided to go out and kill as many cops as he could. And nobody needs to advocate anything of the sort. Nobody told him he should do that. He figures that out all by himself. And he gunned down one cop. And the one disadvantage that the cops have in these street battles is that one thing people can count on is that the enemy will send the freedom fighter more targets. And that's exactly what happened. And as those other cops were swarming in, who should get involved but this dude named Johnny Hurley, who says, "Oh, that guy might kill more cops. I better shoot that guy." Guns
We
down.
Are Change, that guy?
No.
And he shot down the freedom fighter, and as the cops were swarming in, and then picked up the rifle to secure it, and arriving cop said, "Oh, there's a human holding a gun? Oh, perfect excuse to murder a human. Oh, great." And I exploited that opportunity and gunned the human down. They don't care whose side he's on or anything. All they care about is this is an excuse to gun down a human. And so you don't want to get involved if a freedom fighter is out there blasting away cops, because then the cops will murder you just the same. Just as no charges were filed in that Los Angeles Police Department situation where the cop murdered the 14-year-old girl. And, no charges were filed against the cop that murdered Johnny Hurley because, the perfect excuse. It turned out to be a perfectly good excuse. There was a human holding a gun. So that, therefore, they blast him away. So you don't want to get involved. You don't want to interfere with a freedom fighter.
Yeah, this is the guy I was thinking of. Yeah, Johnny Hurley was the We Are Change guy, like Luke Rudkowski. Rudkowski, okay.
There's a D and then a K.
So Johnny Hurley was a We Are Change activist, and it seemed that he just saw somebody shooting people and he tried to stop them, and he wasn't doing anything wrong, but then when the cops arrived, they were just like, "Hey, you have a gun," and killed him. That's why you don't live in a place like Colorado where you're not allowed to have a gun. That's insane.
Well, he wasn't. The freedom fighter wasn't shooting people; he was shooting cops.
Oh.
Technically, they are Homo sapiens, the same as people are. But like the song goes, you don't think of them as human. To borrow from Tina Turner. Anyway, so you don't shoot at a cop and miss. I'm still telling people not to commit that violent crime, and I'm also telling people not to get involved against a freedom fighter out there that they see blasting away cops, because then the cops arrive. They don't care who you are. You're saving the lives of any number of cops. They'll just blast you away anyway.
Hey, Tom, what do you think it is that makes them stop being human like you and I? Because I think I pinpointed it, and my thought is that when they take the oath that they will not use their own brain and they will enforce any laws, when they become an automaton on their own accord. What do you think about that?
I think that they maliciously joined an organized force that's on a mission to intimidate everybody into obeying a multitude of blatantly unjust laws. It's
Cartel.
the Battle of Bunker Hill. There aren't good redcoats and bad redcoats. They have this thing that a lot of people have this thing in their head that, hey, if you don't like the laws that the cops enforce, your job is to change the laws. It couldn't possibly be the job of members of the legislature or members of Congress to change the laws. And you tell them to change the laws, they think it's a big funny joke, but they briefly stopped laughing on 12 April of 2012 when the police chief of the town of Greenland, New Hampshire, chose to get himself killed and 4 other cops got wounded in a drug raid Of course, they're blaming everybody but themselves when they voted to send the goons into battle. But, by the way, 4 cops, like I say, got shot and wounded. And if any of them happen to be listening to your program right now, it serves you right, punk. See what happens when you maliciously join an organized force that's on a mission to
it's an interesting thing. People are like, oh, well, there's good ones and there's bad ones. I never hear anybody be like, there's good Nazis out there. Like just no. Some of them are good. Some of them are good. Yeah, it's like.
Well, this is such a weird coincidence. So I googled Greenland cop killed in New Hampshire, Greenland, New Hampshire, and it says that he was killed 8 days before his scheduled retirement, and then it says that the person who killed him. But wait for this, but way more conspiracy than that. Cullen Muttrey was the person who killed that cop, right? Well, listen to this. In the Pittsburgh, New Hampshire thing that happened just the other day where the person shot at the Border Patrol agent, his name was Cullen Zaki Dally. How common is the name Cullen? We happen to know someone with that name, but I'm not going to say.
But the thing is, they have this rationalization that if you can't change the laws, then the laws must be okay because the vast majority of people support those unjust laws when look at the drinking age. I mean, let's impose the drinking age on people under 21. There was a referendum in Michigan. Fat lot of good it does to have the right to vote. If you're outnumbered by crazy, deranged, depraved, degenerate, selfish, greedy potholes who don't give a fire truck about your rights, they're hypocrites. I can drive better drunk than teenagers can sober. But what about the teenagers who drink and don't drive? Never heard of that happening. Of course not. How would that be all over the 6 o'clock news? Some 19-year-old guy has a few beers watching the game and then walks home from his buddy's house. That's not going to be on the news. It just never occurs to them. Hitchhikers have the same problem. Only the bad cases get mentioned all over the news, and people say, hitchhikers are all bad. That's why when there's a terrible crash nowadays, it's if the person who caused the crash or is suspected of causing the crash was born outside some lines on the map, it gets
that's something I've seen a lot of.
And as Anne Frank wrote in her diary, she lamented on 22 May of 1944, it is very sad that for the umpteenth time, the old truth is confirmed. What one Christian does is his own responsibility. What one Jew does reflects back on all Jews. That is how they want to just show the worst of the worst cases. But then it never occurs to them to give a flying duck about the ones who, because some of them are so far gone, they never imagine anybody could be drinking and not driving.
Thank you for the call, Tom. Lots of interesting stuff. Honestly, who's on one tonight, so it's nice to let him talk. More Free Talk Live coming up. Thank you for the call, Tom, New Hampshire, and more Free Talk Live coming up. You can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Once New Hampshire is an independent nation, what about travel? Would you need a passport to go to Maine, Vermont, or Massachusetts? Look, it's just a media scare tactic. The media and the loyalists don't want you to believe that New Hampshire can be a self-governing, independent nation. They want you to think that it would be so disruptive to your life that it's not even worth pursuing. But look around the world. Over 200 other self-governing independent nations are able to travel, trade, and do business with one another. So understand, when they're telling you that it would be so disruptive that it would never happen, they're speaking to you from a United States that allows over 1.5 million legal border crossings per year from Mexico, with nothing more than a border transit card. Don't believe the hype. Travel is the least of the issues that we have to be concerned with, and New Hampshire independence is the only way that we will ever control our travel, our trade, and our border policy. You can learn more about how we can peacefully divorce D.C. at NHindependence.org and join the movement at NHExit.us.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Iran agreed to hold further talks in Vienna this week regarding a possible new nuclear deal. The talks in Geneva on Thursday came amid a huge buildup of U.S. military assets in the Middle East. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
The Omani foreign minister, who's been mediating the talks between the United States and Iran, said there'd been significant progress at the talks, with creative and positive ideas being discussed. Iran admitted the negotiations had been very serious, but both sides agreed to hold further technical discussions next week in Austria. The talks come amid a huge build-up of US military assets in the region, including 2 aircraft carriers and hundreds of combat jets, and Washington has not yet ruled out a military strike on Iran if it fails to sign up to a nuclear deal. Tehran says it has no intention of building a nuclear weapon and only wants to use nuclear energy for civil needs.
U.S. President Donald Trump wrapped up the longest State of the Union speech in American history, hailing his turnaround while championing economic and immigration accomplishments. He lamented the recent Supreme Court decision against his tariffs and again warned Iran about obtaining a nuclear weapon. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
It was the longest speech in State of the Union history, almost an hour and 50 minutes, during which time the president focused on largely domestic issues, the economy and immigration, trying to prove to voters, who'll be voting in the midterm elections in November, that he is getting the cost of living under control. Polls suggest, though, that many Americans don't believe his vision at a time when inflation remains stubbornly high and many Americans are struggling to afford rent and groceries. He referenced his loss at the Supreme Court on Friday, calling that an unfortunate and disappointing ruling. It was one of the few times that Democrats cheered and clapped during his speech. And again he warned Iran, saying his preference was diplomacy, that he wanted to make a deal, but said Iran must never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon, adding they had sinister ambitions, just days before US and Iranian negotiators are due for the next round of talks in Geneva.
And former U.S. President Bill Clinton testified before a congressional committee about his links to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton testified that he saw nothing and did nothing wrong, describing his connection with Epstein as a brief acquaintance. Clinton flew on Epstein's plane and was photographed with him on several occasions, including with young women. Earlier in the week, former First Lady Hillary Clinton testified under oath that she never encountered Jeffrey Epstein and urged President Trump to testify about his connections to the late sex offender. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is...
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. I forgot to say at the very beginning of the show, and I'm meaning to do it every show so I get as many people's ears as possible. Please note, we are not doing Fork Fest at Rogers Campground this year, but some very interesting developments have taken place, and we will have news likely tomorrow about it. Fork Fest is going to happen. But please don't make reservations at Rogers Campground for Forkfest. And I'm sorry it's so close to time now, but it's just been uncontrollable circumstances. And that's why we had to say, well, I'm not going to go to Rogers. Anyone who wants to make a reservation at Rogers for that time can do it themselves if they want. That's fine. But the majority of people calling themselves Forkfest or calling themselves members of, or people participating in Fork Fest will not be going to Rogers Campground in June. Please keep checking the forkfest.party website because in the next 3 days we will have an update. And right now, if you went to forkfest.party, you would see it still says Rogers and all that stuff. It hasn't been updated. So yeah, I need to make sure as many people who may attend Fork Fest and hear about it on the show know that before June. So, beyond that, Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
El Mincho.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry, Colin.
And so we had a really good, interesting call from Tom in the last segment, but I wanted to continue the conversation with you. You were in Puerto Vallarta.
Yes, I do want to continue that, but I had two things to say about what he said.
What Tom said?
Yeah, so he said, don't go out and, try and get involved when the cops are shooting somebody
he
or
said,
whatever.
don't try to stop a freedom fighter who's killing cops.
Yes, well...
And don't shoot a cop and miss.
Well, here's an interesting case. The civil rights lawyer on his YouTube channel's covered it. I'm sure plenty of other people have. There was somebody who was at a commuter rail or whatever station or whatever. This is in California somewhere. I can't remember if it's San Diego or San Francisco or whatever. And there were shots that were heard. So a cop runs over to the area, he gets out of his car and runs over to this park area, I guess, where this stuff is at. And he just sees somebody running. He doesn't say, stop, I'm with the police. He just pulls his gun out and shoots this person in the back and kills them.
Why? If you're running, you're probably running from the gunshots.
Exactly. And then later on, they're like, we found a gun in his bag. And I'm like, that's not the problem here. It doesn't matter because he might not have been involved in it, which apparently he wasn't. And a good reason to have a gun. You're in an area where people do shoot. Right? You have a right to protect yourself, but you don't, he didn't say stop, and then the guy kept running. The cam footage showed everything.
Wow.
So,
horrible.
and they did have to settle a lawsuit. So I guess you could say, oh, the system works, at least they settled the lawsuit. But it's like...
Yeah, they get to kill someone and then let the taxpayers pay for their lawsuit and continue working. So not really.
But no, it's, this is funny because I say this kind of stuff and I really wish I could get through, especially to the right-wing people, the conservative people. But this really isn't a free country. This is not a safe country. I've had interactions with police in Mexico many times. I've had interactions with police in the U.S. many times. And I honestly, during that whole entire thing that happened, that I was down there for, with cars being lit on fire and everything like that, I had no fear at all. I've had way more fear driving through Ware, New Hampshire, where the police have killed people, where they follow you around, where they approach your car and their hand is on their gun as they're doing it.
Remember how they sent
over
activists...
a light, over a license plate light. So
remember how there were activists protesting the Ware police, and then the police sent boxes of pizza to the protesters?
No, I don't remember that.
They were trying to say, hey, peace or something like that. And Carla Garrick was there. Ian was there. Ian was like, I ate the pizza. And they wrote from your porky friends or something like that at the Ware police. Yeah. And then Carla was like, I'm not going to eat pizza from them. If I was there, I'd be like her. I
wouldn't eat it either.
Eating their pizza. It had bacon on it as a joke too.
Yeah.
But I just think that's so annoying because it's why did you continue to be a horrible police station where you kill lots of people and are the worst for pulling people over?
For being in the middle of nowhere, right? Where, if you're not aware, listener, Ware's a village, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has 12 people in it.
I don't know about that, but
it's not very large. I mean, they have a gas station or two, right? There's not very much there.
It's less than 10,000. It's 9,000 people. But
I was about to say
is small. Just you don't see them. They're off the road. It genuinely is a place that feels like everybody likes it because it feels like it's cozy.
If there are 9,000 people, you cannot see them. Exactly. It feels a lot smaller than maybe that people that live there. I know a lot of rich people live near Ware.
It doesn't have any real proper downtown the way
there's no center of town. Yeah. It's all spread out, but so it really feels like nothing. It's really a place that not a lot goes on, except the fact that the police like to kill people there. That's really why Ware makes the news
and intimidate them and follow them around at night. Follow them through turn after turn after turn, looking for some reason to pull them over. Yeah, no, it's a really...
One time
the town almost voted to defund the police. This is way before all of this Black Lives Matter stuff.
I should probably go to the caller, but I do want to say one thing. I want to say that I got stopped in the road going through Ware because I didn't know yet that this was a dangerous thing to do. I should have gone home on 101. But anyways, I was going through Ware on the way home from a party with my friends, and I didn't even drink, so I was totally fine, except I was dressed like a deer, and it wasn't Halloween because it was Jewish Halloween.
You could get shot very easily being dressed as a deer.
Yeah, exactly. No. But I probably looked crazy, and Elsa was dressed as an alien. And it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was Jewish Halloween or whatever called Purim, so we went to our friend's house, and then we're driving home in the middle of the night, and it had just been a crazy storm, and the trees were down, and we didn't know it. So, we see a tree down, we do the normal thing, and then we turn. In fact, there was a human being out there looking at the tree, seeing if he could move it. And we like talked to him, and he's like, yeah, you probably want to turn around, and this is the way to go. And that was so nice. And then we turn around, and a cop just happens to be pulling up to the scene and stops us and is like, what are you guys doing? And like questioning us like crazy. Like, it's just like, I explained myself exactly. I was like, we were going to drive through this way. We're going to Keene, but that tree was down. So I turned around, and he's just like acting like we're a criminal off the, like, for no reason. It was so annoying.
Yeah,
and scary.
when actually they're the criminals and they're murderers, and they're a gang that has a murderer, in it.
I Googled, oh, never mind. Hold on. Well, let's get into the caller. So Dave Ridley in Colorado, really, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. Well, I wanted to let you know this TV series that I'm working on, a sci-fi TV series set in New Hampshire. I have just released the trailer on RidleyReport.com.
Oh, awesome. I need to check that out. I'm going to pull it up now so I don't forget. But RidleyReport.com is where you can go to watch Dave Ridley's new fiction show, Legends of the Free State, and I really am excited.
Yeah, and I say TV in quotes. It may or may not air on television. I'm going to do things to make it possible to air on television, but it's not. I don't know what will happen. Mainly, I'm just, for now, uploading stuff to YouTube and Odyssey.
Awesome. I'm really excited. Think Penguin Presents. That's awesome. I love this. I saw a thing today where people are doing a scientific study and saying that, there are no dangers of AI, and the activists saying that there are dangers are wrong. How do you feel about that, Dave Ridley?
The activists are right, but you and I are right if we want to avoid having the government fix the problem.
That's a good point. I'm sure this is a government-funded study, too. I didn't really get that deep into researching it, but just when I saw that, I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
I have some.
Yeah, and there is.
I have some things to say about that. Based on all the research I've done into all this AI stuff, people who are like, it's going to take over, it's going to kill you. No, I mean, maybe someday it could get that advanced, but it's nowhere near that. But it does have tons and tons and tons of implications for mass surveillance, just using, pattern recognition to trace people in ways that were not possible or easy before. So that's the big thing. Or for instance, for years we've known about like those big data centers they built in like Utah and other places like that. And for a long time, me and all the tech people were saying things like, well, they have so many, thousands of terabytes of data, they'll never be able to process it to ever get through any of it. It's like, well, now with this AI stuff, they'll actually be able to look at it a little closer and search through messages.
Point. Like yesterday I was listening to a YouTube video of this woman reporting on these AI toys people are buying their kids. It's like a little, like, it kind of looks like a baby alive, or not a baby alive, a real friend. Like, it's like a animal that's also part like robot, moves around and like looks like it's blinking and stuff like that. And it's your little AI friend that you can talk to it. You could tell it how your day went. You could tell it all your secrets as a little kid instead of having a friend down the street. And that these conversations are being recorded, and they're not like taking these things off the market. They're just like, well, people are agreeing to it. And I was thinking to myself, like, well, at least like, who's gonna sit on the other side and listen to these kids' conversations that have been recorded for 12 hours a day? And then what you said just occurred to me. That makes a lot of sense. They'll just put it through AI.
Yeah,
get out the info they need.
Yeah.
I think that Dave has a very different opinion on whether or not it can be dangerous. Do you have anything to say about that, Dave?
Yeah, and actually life is kind of already imitating art in relation to my series. I use the program that I use to do the most writing. I had a program try to write the script for episode 1, and it basically wound up writing about a third of the script for episode 1 of Legends. And the program I used is Anthropic's Sonnet. I think it was version 4.5. It's not a frontier model. It's a little bit older, maybe 6 or 12 months old. But it did a really nice job. I had to make some changes, and I rejected some of its ideas, and it didn't get everything right. But it wrote a screenplay, and that is the company right now that's in so much trouble for actually standing up to the government and also trying to promote safety. Have you heard about this?
Anthropic?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of them as an AI company. And so what are they doing against the government?
Well, they're all over the news this week. The Pentagon called the CEO, I think it's Dario Amodei, I think is how he pronounces his name, called him into the Pentagon for an interrogation. And then when the guy refused to do what the Pentagon told him, the Pentagon listed him as almost like an enemy agent, like his company is considered an enemy agent now. This has never been done before. And that's not quite the right word to use, but they're treating it like it's a Chinese company, basically.
Where is the company from?
I don't know where. Well, the company's, I think, headquartered in the United States, and Dario, I think, is an American. He sounds like an American. The thing is, he was trying to get the Pentagon to agree to certain safety standards, and they were refusing. And so they're making demands on him. And he, Anthropic, I've called in before a couple of times. I don't want to be too quick to designate heroes here because they tend to let you down. And Anthropic has done some things it shouldn't have. But generally speaking, of the top AI companies, this is the one that actually focuses on safety, but also made it into the top 3. So it's probably better if they're the ones who are doing well, and if they're being targeted by the Pentagon, that this is actually an existential risk for human existence, because the Pentagon is backing the worst AI company, Closed AI, which is very censorship oriented and not oriented toward censorship. And one of their whistleblowers died mysteriously somewhat recently. So this is a bad bunch, and the Pentagon seems to be backing Closed AI. This means the Pentagon is trying to back extinction, as best I can tell.
Well, I don't know if I don't have an opinion, and I respect Dave Ridley's opinion because he researches this more than me. But I definitely think that when the Pentagon is backing, probably is for a bad reason, and they're probably bad people. So Dave Ridley, I have a little off-topic question. Do you know who took the picture of you that you use for your profile picture on Ridley Report? The picture of you taking a video?
That's James Schmill. Also, his nickname is Puke.
Oh.
Yeah, Puke in the Gang. Does that still exist? I never actually listened to it.
I love that picture. It's great.
Yeah, and I think his website was doomsdaymachine.com, although I think it has some dashes in it, so I don't know how easy it would be to find. He was a very active guy in the 2009 era in the Free State Project. I don't know if he's still in state or not.
I just was curious. That's such a great picture. It's like, wow, what a good moment to take a picture while you're no one's going to normally think of that. So I just love it. Well, thank you for the call, and everybody can go to RidleyReport.com. It'll take you to his YouTube page, and it's right there. The biggest thing on the screen will be his new Legends of the Free State fiction TV show. Thank you for the call, Dave. Anything else for us?
That's all.
Thank you for the call. And so 603-283-6160 is the phone number. Colin, you had more you wanted to say about Mexico.
No, you had more you were interrogating me to say. Oh, wait.
We also didn't say anything about the fact that we, aka the U.S. government, is at war with Iran.
Oh, yeah. There'll be plenty to say about that in a bit.
I want you to continue what you're saying, but also...
Yeah, the Ayatollah can wait.
I just was thinking it's kind of funny like that. That's why I titled the show, and we didn't talk about it at all yet. Yeah, we're only in the first hour, though. So, yeah, what was how was that question you put to me? Well, you were telling me, on the phone, you were saying, the libertarians should be the people to not be living in fear, not just cave to the fear they want you to cave to in a terrorist situation.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was the thing. I mean, there were people in certain chat groups related to Acapulco saying things like shelter in place. And I was actually joking with my friends. I was like, oh, the next thing they're going to say is shelter in place. And then literally we read that line next. And we're just laughing because it's just... that's the kind of stuff that it's like, stay inside.
I heard
and don't go out.
Yeah, drinking in place.
Yeah, stay inside and don't go out and just read this stream of news and just sit there and be scared and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go out and I'm going to see what's happening. I have context for this. They did the same thing in 2023 after they caught El Chapo's son. And so I was like, well, I know they're probably not, it's going to be somewhere within that range of behavior. It could be a little worse, could be a little better, but whatever. And so... I went out and I took all this video and photos of cars burning and stuff. And, that also
Too bad your phone is a potato. Otherwise, that'd be pretty cool.
What?
Nothing.
Oh no, I had fixed my phone literally the night before I went to Mexico. Thank that was good.
I'm just talking about the camera quality.
Yeah, she's saying that you take pictures with a potato. Like it's as good as a potato.
Oh. Anyway, so like there were different people. There were some people who also went out, and they were like kind of YouTube famous people. Again, I'm not going to say who. And they're like, "Oh, do you hear that? That's another bomb going off." And I was like, there were no bombs. I mean, they used some sort of incendiary thing to get the cars on fire, but there weren't bombs. There weren't explosives going off.
Oh, and one thing was apparently, maybe you told me this about tires popping.
Yes. So, I mean, I literally was videotaping cars, and you could, they'd be burning for a while, and then the tires, they get hot and they expand, and then they blow off of the rim and like shoot off of the car, which is kind of cool. But also kind of like, okay, don't get that close to them. So,
yeah.
I learned that. Not like I ever got close to one when that happened, but I was like watching it happen. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to get any closer than this.
Can knock you out.
Yeah. Well, really big tires, like the ones on semi-trucks and stuff like that, can kill people when they blow up. That's a kind of known thing. But yeah, so yes, the cars had stuff in them that was blowing up just because of the way cars are, let's say. And also, this is something else. This is maybe just a Mythbuster moment here. In Hollywood, they always show a car gets into an accident and blows up. No car ever does that. That just never happens. They can catch on fire.
What about like the propane tanks? Like they're like, I'm going to make an explosion, so they shoot a propane tank. Does that actually happen?
There have been tons of people who've done like Mythbuster things. You can find all sorts of YouTube videos where people shoot at propane cans, and it's not really possible to get an explosion, because in order to have an explosion, you have to have fuel and air combined, mixed, and ready to go off. And so the tank is totally propane. There's no oxygen in it. And so if you get a hole going on the tank, it'll shoot out a stream of propane, and you can light that stream on fire. You can find videos of people doing that on YouTube too, where they drill a hole and it's like, and then they just light it up, and it's like a flame coming out of the side.
Great radio.
But it doesn't just, did those sounds work out? I hope they did. But it doesn't just blow up, Now, if you let that propane get into the air and make a big cloud of propane that's mixed with oxygen, and then you light something, then you can get an explosion. But and the same thing is true with cars too. So your gas tank should never have any air in it. It's designed not to. It's designed to let the vapors out and recollect them in what's it called? The vapor canister. There we go. So like that stuff doesn't happen either. In Hollywood, they literally have to rig the cars up to make them blow up like that, and they also use explosives too when they do it.
But your main point is not really about how the cars.
But just people like they don't know what they're talking about. They're like, "That was another explosion," and it's like, no. I mean, I can see how you might think that based on the sound you heard, but I'm like literally there watching cars do it. I'm like, that's not an explosion, And those were people those particular people weren't even from like the U.S. where a lot of people like shoot stuff and blow stuff up all the time. But no, my thing is you have to go out and actually see stuff in order to understand the context of it. So hearing gunfire doesn't mean like it could be, like I was saying, it could be people shooting guns in the air. It could be people shooting at an empty building just to say, oh, like they're making a video, like propagandistically say like, yeah, we were killing the cartel people who were in this building or whatever, and they're just firing into nothing or whatever. You don't know until you go and see it. For yourself, yeah, or you get a video, and even videos, those can lie, but when you see something with your own eyes, that's really
like in the beginning of the Ukraine war. There were videos of this one crazy moving around airplane, and people were saying, yeah, it's the ghost of Kiev or something like that, and it's going around killing so many people. But wow, they're doing such a great job, they're winning, and it turned out to be from a video game.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Oh, the Arma video, yeah, I remember that.
That's crazy. When the Ukraine things first started, we were constantly saying on the show, like, I don't know, we don't know, we're not there, we're not looking at it. But I guess it's a lot easier to say that when we're here. Like, if I was in Ukraine while it was happening, maybe I'd be falling for this panic. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not criticizing any of our friends. I just think maybe we should keep these things more in mind.
Yeah, we're the ones who should be not going along with stuff, not just listening to something that we heard, verified it in some way, looking for the places you might verify it. So, I mean, I could speak Spanish. I could go to Spanish newspapers and read what they're putting out at the same time. I could read, stuff from the governor, where they said they're shutting the airport down. So I'd stayed at different places while I was down there. I was down in Mexico for like 2 weeks, but even within Puerto Vallarta, I stayed at 2 different locations. But the last 2 nights there, I was actually in a resort, which was full of, just tons of gringos. And there was some like blonde chick down by the pool. We walked down to the pool, and first I was telling her friends, I was like, "Oh, don't worry, it's nothing. They're not gonna do anything to you." Blah 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 blah. And then her friend like shows up, and she's like, "No, you don't understand. I know airlines, and this is gonna be shut down for a week at
she was
least."
Wrong. Oh yeah,
and
you told me. She said
I told you that the day it happened. Yeah, I told you that the day it happened, and you were even worried. And I was like, "No, it's not gonna be shut down for a week." Now,
she knows airlines calling.
Yeah. And I'm like, where did she, this is the thing I really have to wonder. When people have information and it's wrong, where do they get it from? I understand when people don't know and they're speculating. I understand.
That sounds like that was the case with her. She probably like maybe worked at an airline or in some way.
Yeah.
And she's like, I know, because I remember this one thing happened, and you know what I mean? It's like, that sounds like that's what it was. Also, it sounds like they're drunk at a resort, so who knows?
Yeah.
Well, got anything else to say about that? I can see how there's the parallels with
So I will say, we're getting close. So I will say this about like the taxi stuff. So the taxis actually kind of work with the cartels. They work as lookouts, and they sometimes work as mules, and they have to be buddy with them. And so a thing happened where the next day I got in a cab. I was able to, like, they weren't running in the morning, but I was like, oh, thank God, finally they're running, because I was like, I got to get to the airport. I want to get there early because I was having trouble with my check-in process, and I didn't want to lose my spot. It's crazy how kind of risky I played that. Oh, I guess I'll finish it when we come back.
Well, more Free Talk Live is coming up. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. You can call in about whatever's on your mind. We have more about this coming up. We have more about the war with Iraq coming up, and whatever else is on your mind and other things. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160 is the phone number for you to call.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Iran agreed to hold further talks in Vienna this week regarding a possible new nuclear deal. The talks in Geneva on Thursday came amid a huge buildup of U.S. military assets in the Middle East. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
The Omani foreign minister, who's been mediating the talks between the United States and Iran, said there'd been significant progress at the talks, with creative and positive ideas being discussed. Iran admitted the negotiations had been very serious, but both sides agreed to hold further technical discussions next week in Austria. The talks come amid a huge buildup of US military assets in the region, including 2 aircraft carriers and hundreds of combat jets, and Washington has not yet ruled out a military strike on Iran if it fails to sign up to a nuclear deal. Tehran says it has no intention of building a nuclear weapon and only wants to use nuclear energy for civil needs. Ross Cullen, Paris.
U.S. President Donald Trump wrapped up the longest State of the Union speech in American history, hailing his turnaround while championing economic and immigration accomplishments. He lamented the recent Supreme Court decision against his tariffs and again warned Iran about obtaining a nuclear weapon. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
It was the longest speech in State of the Union history, almost an hour and 50 minutes, during which time the president focused on largely domestic issues, the economy and immigration, trying to prove to voters, who'll be voting in the midterm elections in November, that he is getting the cost of living under control. Polls suggest, though, that many Americans don't believe his vision at a time when inflation remains stubbornly high and many Americans are struggling to afford rent and groceries. He referenced his loss at the Supreme Court on Friday, calling that an unfortunate and disappointing ruling. It was one of the few times that Democrats cheered and clapped during his speech. And again he warned Iran, saying his preference was diplomacy, that he wanted to make a deal, but said Iran must never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon, adding they had sinister ambitions, just days before US and Iranian negotiators are due for the next round of talks in Geneva. I'm Nick Harper in Washington.
And former U.S. President Bill Clinton testified before a congressional committee about his links to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton testified that he saw nothing and did nothing wrong, describing his connection with Epstein as a brief acquaintance. Clinton flew on Epstein's plane and was photographed with him on several occasions, including with young women. Earlier in the week, former First Lady Hillary Clinton testified under oath that she never encountered Jeffrey Epstein and urged President Trump to testify about his connections to the late sex offender. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. Border tensions between Pakistan and Afghanistan escalated after Kabul launched a large-scale offensive against Islamabad. Pakistan's Ministry of Information said the country's armed forces were responding with full force. FSN's Hira Mustafa reports from Islamabad.
Pakistan's Deputy Interior Minister says security forces are on high alert in anticipation of possible attacks from Afghanistan. Suspected militants are being arrested nationwide. Surveillance at crowded public places like bus terminals and markets has been increased. Over the weekend, Pakistan carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan, targeting what it said were militant hideouts linked to a recent wave of suicide bombings on Pakistani soil. Islamabad accuses Kabul of allowing fighters to use the Afghan territory as a safe haven. Kabul denies the allegations, maintaining that militancy is Pakistan's internal issue. Earlier this month, a suicide bomber struck a Shia mosque in Islamabad, killing 32 people. Hira Mustafa, Islamabad.
China removed 9 military lawmakers from its national parliament ahead of its biggest annual political meeting. Since coming to power, President Xi Jinping has launched waves of anti-corruption drives. Critics say it's been used as a tool to purge political rivals. FSN's Laura Westbrook reports from Hong Kong.
The country's top legislative body revoked the membership of 5 generals along with 4 other officials, according to state media. No official reason was given, but it comes just weeks after President Xi Jinping's move to place under investigation his top general and one-time ally, Zhang Zhousha. It is also the latest in a series of purges of high-profile figures in the military over the last few years, which authorities say were part of an anti-corruption drive. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
Those were some of the week's top stories. Iris.
The new Netflix Gas lets users instantly inhale multiple seasons of TV shows. An area man is worried the nation's healthcare debate might be getting political, and a bullied 8th grader incorrectly thought classmates would leave him alone during a field trip to the 9/11 memorial. Don't mistake my kind, gentle tone for one of love or support. This is the Onion Week in Review. According to a report released this Tuesday, no one, absolutely no one, will ever stack up to your 8th grade boyfriend, Brian Bowden, who you dated for 6 weeks in middle school. A 43-page study from Stanford University confirmed that no other guy in your life will ever be as kind or caring as the 13-year-old who held your hand during the scary parts of Jurassic Park, who had that really cool chain wallet, and who bought you 2 pink carnations on Valentine's Day. The report added that while your current boyfriend does have a lot going for him, he will certainly never cut class with you to listen to the Dead Kennedys' Frankenchrist on a Sony Discman. Brian used to do that with you. He used to do it all the time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And I'd like to thank Brian for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Brian went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Brian and everyone who supports us. And again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
And the Ayatollah Khomeini.
No, you don't. Or no, you aren't.
No, you don't.
Oh, no, you don't. Say your name. No, I'm just kidding. So I did want to let Colin finish his story really fast.
Yeah, there's a caller, but I'll finish it. So the taxis kind of work with them. It obviously is going to be different in different parts of Mexico and stuff like that. But, they basically told them, and it's like a song and a dance. Everybody kind of knows what to do down there when this sort of thing happens. So everybody just stays inside. They close down the businesses. It's almost like if your business was open, they might go by and target it because you didn't shut down when they're doing the tantrum, let's call it.
So it's like the scene in the Old West movies where the bad gang rides into town and everybody shutters.
Yeah, exactly.
Their windows and doors and all hide in.
Yeah. and also, so these cars are burning. The fire people don't go out to put them out. They let them burn out. Eventually all the stuff gets cleaned up. I saw stuff getting cleaned up the very next morning. Even the military, like the stuff that like these cars are on fire and stuff, and they're like almost like extinguished themselves. They've gone out. And then finally I see the military like driving down the street like these big, green military vehicles, but they're like sitting on the back of the thing. And this was like kind of the moment where I was like, okay, these guys aren't even taking it seriously. Was like they were on their cell phones. So it's like you're not really paying attention. And everywhere they're going where the cartel has already popped up and done something. So basically they just like ninja out of nowhere, like on motorcycles or whatever, light up the cars, commandeer a car and light it up, and then just get away. So it's not like they're in this area waiting for a battle or something like that to happen. But yeah, the taxis kind of work with them. So I was getting the taxi ride to the airport the next day, and he asks me, like, oh yeah, this is in Spanish, like, oh, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine, like I just like answered that, without even thinking. And then he's like, oh, really? And I was like, oh, yeah. None of this stuff scares me at all. I'm not scared of anything. And then he like starts telling me, he's like, oh yeah, well, over in my neighborhood, there's dead bodies everywhere. And
like
I'm
lining the streets or something like that?
Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm not sure if I believe you or not. And so far, I've been looking into it every couple of days. I'm like, let's see if this pops up that there's like dead bodies all over one of these neighborhoods of Puerto Vallarta. Haven't found anything. the total death toll for this whole thing was like 60 or 70.
73 is what I'm looking at. But the thing is, I finally found an article that's explaining where these people came from. It's literally all the Mexican military and cartel members. This article says at least 73 people have died in Mexico's attempt to capture the notorious leader. Okay, see, that's more keeping it, honestly, it's like keeping it specific. Like, I don't like that most articles are saying 73 people died, and you're just looking at, and it has a picture of the cars burning, you're thinking, whoa, the cartel ran out into the streets and killed 73 people. No, it says the body count, it says 73 people have died in Mexico's attempt to capture in Mexico, as in the government's attempt to capture the notorious leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel and the violent aftermath of his death. The body count was taken by security officials The body count taken by security officials included security forces, suspected cartel members, and others. But it's literally all, and if you read the whole thing, it's talking about it happening during the attack on El Mencho, meaning like it's not like they went out and burned a car and also were executing people, which is just like,
they didn't do that.
Why isn't any article coming out?
There was a story I heard, and that there were some prison guards, and that the cartel might have tried to assault a prison to get somebody out during this whole thing. But I don't really know. But yeah, the point is, like whatever that cab driver told me was baloney. And everybody freaking out. But yeah, no, there was the crazy thing is,
Listen to this specifically in this article. The dead included 25 members of the Mexican National Guard who were killed in 6 separate attacks. Security Secretary Omar Garcia Harfuch said. Mr. Harfuch said some 30 criminal suspects were killed in Jalisco and 4 others were killed in the neighboring state of Michoacan. A prison guard and agent from the state prosecutor's office were also killed. So that adds up pretty fast.
Yeah, you get close to that 70 number pretty fast.
With just there with the the National Guard, the criminal suspects.
But you said that was through 6 separate attacks, so they were having like clashes outside.
Yes. No, it was all at once. But by the way, supported by the U.S. government. We're not getting that enough in the news. The U.S. government helped these attacks. But
this whole entire thing, 100% from beginning to end, is completely the fault of the U.S.
And not just the fault as in like, the war on drugs. Wait 1 second. They are literally helping with these.
We back them up.
And the other thing is that Trump has been saying for months now, we're going to put tariffs on you if you guys don't do something about the cartels. We're going to put tariffs on you. Yeah, so that I just think that more people need to be pointing that out in the articles and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let me lay that out for everybody. So the reason the cartels are so powerful is because of the drug appetite of the U.S., and that is because the drugs are illegal in the U.S., specifically cocaine. They don't do marijuana anymore. There's enough of it legalized up here. Mm-hmm. But it's because cocaine is illegal. Mexicans literally think like every American is on cocaine or loves cocaine or whatever because it's just so popular up here. So that's what gives them the money. Then you have like even the weapons. Most of the weapons have come from the U.S., sometimes via our own government. Look up Fast and Furious under Obama. Then you have the fact that our government then pressures them, hey, you need to go after these guys. It's like the whole entire thing is completely created or a result of American interventions into what could just be a free market. Look, we don't have people killing each other over marijuana in this country, you know?
And it's a great example of the government creates a problem and then offers you the quote-unquote solution that they wanted to begin with, which also comes with more surveillance and
also, like honestly, like cocaine's just not a problem. It's not, I mean, it is. I don't like people who are on it a lot of times, but it doesn't kill people like the way that it does. The way other things can. And then all
it's
this
like
stuff,
someone gets addicted to something. Well, that's their problem. Let them work on the cocaine, which those people are typically the working type, and then go spend their money on something. It's like, well, there are people addicted to
I don't believe
too.
it. I don't believe any of these people say that I'm more likely to believe, this is what I believe, I have no proof of this either way, that the U.S. government is putting out bad coke and putting fentanyl in it to kill
I can see that 100%.
Our government our government's evil. Look what they did with like COVID stuff. Look what they did with, they don't care if people die. They just want an excuse to convince you to go along with them and do things. So that's the real thing. It's like Alex Jones says, it's a war for your mind, folks.
Even though I think it's Skeeter, I don't want to keep the caller waiting too long.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Let's go to the calls. No, it's fine. Caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
I think you guys are individualists. How come you guys keep grouping all politicians as government? But
Oh my
why are you
God,
guys trying to
that's so
downplay?
stupid. Government is a group of people. We point that out more often than anybody else in the whole entire world.
They're just made
It's
up
a
of
group
bunch
of people.
individuals.
It
Yes,
is, and they're all
exactly.
evil. The incentives are for them to be
You're
bad.
criticizing them as a group. Is Ron Paul evil?
So if
Is
you
Rand Paul
join
evil?
a group,
Is Javier Milei evil?
well, I think that
You are part
they
of the
probably
group.
are to an extent, and we don't really know about it yet. But the main point of it is that the person who's the exception to the rule doesn't make the entire group, like it doesn't change the entire group. If there's
Isn't
a
that what
group
you're
of
doing?
people whose job is to go in the streets and draw with chalk, and one person joins and doesn't draw with chalk, and we're just like referring to that group as the group of people that go in the streets that draw with chalk. If you're like, one person and it doesn't, that's the stupidest argument anyone's ever heard.
You guys were just alleging that the government puts out bad cocaine on the streets.
I
Okay.
did.
Which group of politician does that?
Do
Is
you
that an
do you
exception? Is that an
genuinely
argument
think
from
that, like,
exception or the general?
do you actually think that, like, the governor of New Hampshire is one of the people out there individually putting bad cocaine on the streets? Or can you understand, without being too freaking stupid to, that it could be ordered by her and then the minions, the cops and such, are the ones out there physically doing the thing? Have you ever heard of the Tuskegee experiments or any of the bringing crack into the black...
Let's stop arguing from exception, right?
Okay,
Look,
bye, Skeeter. You're so dumb to talk to, and I just hate talking to you. So freaking pointless to talk to. Like, it's just literally
Wait
like
here.
I make a point, and he's just like, "Well, what about this other thing?" It's pointless. Like other people.
Well,
can call
because
it-
it's just constant whataboutism.
yeah, it is.
And arguing from a place of whataboutism is you never get anywhere. It's cyclical, right? It's a circle, and you talk in a circle because there's always a whataboutism that you can pull from. So you never really get to a point. You just jump from every what about this, what about that.
Yep.
You get in a corner and then you change the subject.
Exactly, that's what he does.
Listeners, please call in if Skeeter's commentary changed your mind.
603-283-6160. I want to read a little.
Hey, I was listening, and he's. I can't do this.
Listen, so I wanted to read more from this article, which, by the way, I didn't say. It's from abc.net.au. Maybe it's Australian. I wanted to read what they said the U.S.'s involvement was in this El Mencho thing. The White House confirmed that the U.S. provided intelligence support to the operation to capture the cartel leader and applauded Mexico's army for taking down a man who was one of the most wanted criminals in both countries. Mexico hoped the death of the world's biggest fentanyl traffickers would ease the Trump administration's pressure to do more against the cartels.
I'm sorry, I'm really confused right now because I thought we took over Venezuela, and so now there's no more fentanyl-laced cocaine, right? Is it? Oh no, it didn't come from Venezuela.
That's a really good point. He said that's why he did that in Venezuela. So
Yeah, well, that's also why they took out the Ayatollah.
really,
No, it's a
I was
joke.
like, I didn't know. Okay,
But they might as well say that. I mean, people are buying that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same kind of person who hears it goes like, "No, you don't understand. They're lacing the drugs." It's the same kind of person who's like, "The cartel's going to go room to room killing American tourists only," and it's like, shut up. By the way, it's amazing. You don't even have to give these people propaganda. They just make it up in their own heads because they've watched so many, TV series and stuff.
Well, I was hearing the exact opposite. It was like Americans shouldn't be bothered because the last thing the cartel wants to do is hurt a bunch of Americans, and then they have Marine Division breathing down their neck. That's the last thing they want to do is deal with American soldiers.
Yeah,
and if you
that's the
kill a
idea.
bunch of Americans and you disturb the lives of Americans and you get the public riled up, then that's how you get the ire of the U.S. government, the complete ire of the U.S. government, instead of just like some intel help. They'll just
that's
rain
the
hellfire missiles
real
down.
idea, like genuinely how they think. But I saw it. I saw people sharing things around in groups, and I also saw people like sharing screenshots from Facebook because I don't have Facebook, where people are like, at exactly 5 o'clock Puerto Vallarta time, they're going to go door to door, and they're going to be targeting. They're looking for American hostages.
So it's just boomer slop is what
Yes.
is what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All
but
right.
it does scare people.
I also saw an AI
It's
image.
meme terrorism.
An AI image of Puerto Vallarta. Like literally, like a third of the buildings are on fire, and I just look at this and I'm like, first off, I don't know, I have a good eye for this. I'm like, those flames aren't real. Not only is it not real because I know that many buildings aren't on fire, I'm just like able to look at it and be like, wait, that's not real.
Yeah, and I've been got by AI before myself. Like, I've been like, whoa, look at that awesome, like, wow, that's a dog. It looks like it has zebra stripes. I didn't know they made that. Oh, that's AI. So, like, I can understand somebody that's like 40 plus getting caught more or got more by it. Not to be mean to people that are 40 plus, I'm just simply saying, like, I grew up with the internet and they didn't. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, watch out. You're going to be
maybe.
40 like next year, right?
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that was basically it. They said Mexico hoped the deaths of the world's biggest fentanyl traffickers, which I don't understand why it's plural, would ease the Trump administration's pressure to do more against the cartels. But many people were on edge as they waited to see the powerful cartels' reaction. And many people still fearing more violence. So the U.S. Embassy said via X, which is hilarious, that its personnel in 8 cities in Michoacan would shelter in place and work remotely on Monday. It warned U.S. citizens in many parts of Mexico to do the same. Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny. Nobody talks about how the cartel pays a bunch of Tier 1 operators from the U.S. military to come train their cartel members in, like, violence. They're paying you, like, ex-U.S. soldiers.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to say that in my little rant where I was like, yeah, well, it's the U.S.'s problem with the drugs and all that. I wouldn't be surprised if half of these cartels are run by the CIA anyways.
They are.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think the CIA should just stand for Cartel, ISIS, and Azov. Right? Because all
Cartel
those...
Israel? No, I'm just kidding.
But, you know, all these groups, all these, like, paramilitary groups that have popped up, they all look really similar. And I'm thinking that's because at the end of the day, they're all trained by, like, the same guys, and that's us. Whether off the books or on the books, or whether it's a retired guy who gets paid off by the cartel to move down there himself, or if it's sanctioned by the government, the U.S. is just training all of these people with their tactics. And then we wonder why things go sideways.
I did want to... So Dave Ridley not Dave Ridley. Tom from New Hampshire brought up this Pittsburgh, New Hampshire shooting, and I found something interesting in this article, so I want to read it really quickly. This from WMTW.com. I don't even know what the heck that is. Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. Investigators have not yet been able to speak with a person accused of firing at a Border Patrol agent in northern New Hampshire because of the extent of the injuries they suffered after the agent returned fire. So it's Blue Zeke Daly, 26, only 26 years old, threw his life away. Also known as Cullen Zeke Daly, of Manchester, was charged with attempted murder of a federal officer and assaulting a federal officer with a deadly weapon in connection with Sunday's incident in Pittsburgh. But the thing that's interesting me is the headline. Investigators examine ideological ties of New Hampshire Border Patrol shooting suspect. I'd like to know what happens when they talk to him, but it says down here, I'm going to scroll because we already understand what happened. He tried to shoot a Border Patrol agent while he was up there and he missed. They're speaking with people associated with the defendant to get a sense of why they might have acted the way they did. We're still investigating everything about this individual, including potential motivation and what could have prompted them to be in the border area at that time of night and what would have caused them to fire at a Border Patrol agent executing routine duties. Daly may be transgender or non-binary, according to the U.S. Attorney and court paperwork obtained by WMUR. Quote, the individual did have a previous Massachusetts driver's license. Oh, Massachusetts. So he's probably not a Manchester person or just barely started living there. Massachusetts driver's license that was denominated to be male and now has a New Hampshire's driver's license, which is denominated to be female. So it's a reasonable assumption that the person has decided to transition their gender. So that's interesting. Court paperwork obtained by WMUR show that in 2024, Daly was granted a name change. Oh, that's why they started going by Blue, I see. Daly stated that they were changing their name because they are non-binary. So, I mean, they wrote down their own name change application. Whenever I changed my last name to Freeman and they asked me the why, I said changing my name because I'm a free person and I can. I didn't put, like, because I'm getting married, because it's like I didn't get state married, so why do I even have to tell them? But anyways, yeah, you have to put a reason. So it says, when asked about potential ideological motivations, Cregan said all aspects of the case remain under investigation, but pointed to the killing of a Border Patrol agent in Vermont just over a year ago, like right when Trump got in office. That shooting was linked to members of a group known as Zizians.
Oh, yeah, I remember that whole thing.
Whose members are mostly transgender or non-binary and who advocate an ideology that includes anarchism, veganism, and fringe rationalist beliefs. So yeah, I thought that was interesting that they're like outright saying this, because it's almost like they always look for like a motivation because they're going to charge people and make a case against them and all that, but like the specific word they use with their ideological ties, and it's just like, it's like when it reminds me of when Ross Ulbricht got sentenced and Judge Forrest decided to say that she's doing this she's putting his sentence at double life plus 40 years with no chance of parole because of deterrence and also because of his ideological beliefs that he didn't take back.
Is actually the judge telling you their ideological beliefs. Their ideological beliefs are that certain ideological beliefs are not to be allowed.
Yep.
And that you can't have an ideological belief inherently that says that there should be less government.
Yep.
You know, so the judge is basically making a political statement when they do that.
Well, do you guys want to move on to the Iran news?
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it since
I have articles.
I'm too close to the Ayatollahs.
No, you're not. Congress rushes to get this from Politico.
I have a harem there.
Politico.com. Congress rushes to get in the loop as critics denounce Iran strikes. If you're hearing the Congress rushes to get into the loop after a war has started, the president didn't ask permission of the Congress, and it's an illegal war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Efforts are underway to set up member briefings next week, but Democrats want the Trump administration to go further. I don't know what that means. Congress is scrambling to learn more about President Donald Trump's overnight strikes in Iran. Wow, that's a horrible sentence. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Constitution says that the Congress must declare war. The president can't just do this.
Yeah, and then they passed a law sometime in, I don't know, like 1950 or something, that says, okay, the president can go without, for a limited time. He can like kind of do a warlike thing, but he still has to advise them and be like, this is what I'm doing. Like notify them. And so now there's some spin out there that I have heard. So I'm not completely up to date on everything with this, but that, he did tell me, so, and who knows if those people are lying or not. But, he should tell all of Congress, not just like two people. That doesn't count.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
They should be able to vote on it or something. Okay, so his long-term strategy for the Middle East as votes to restrain further military action loom next week. Trump administration officials will brief staff on key congressional committees Sunday, according to two people granted anonymity to disclose the plans with the House Intelligence, Armed Services, and Foreign Affairs panels expected to take part. Staff on the Senate Foreign Relations and Intelligence Committees will also be briefed this weekend, according to congressional aides. Efforts are underway to set up lawmaker briefings next week, and with key congressional leaders set to hear from administration officials as soon as Monday. Rep. Gregory Meeks of New York, the top foreign affairs Democrat, told fellow panel members on a private call that administration officials will brief all House lawmakers Wednesday, according to two people on the call granted anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly. Okay, they're saying the same things over and over and over again. So Senate Majority Leader Tom Thune, I hadn't even heard of this person yet, signaled in a statement Saturday he too expects the administration to come to the Hill to discuss Trump's actions. Okay, they're saying the same things over and over again. Sorry, guys. They're just saying, and they're going to learn Monday. And they're going to learn Monday.
And they're going to learn Monday?
Yes, it's annoying.
Maybe they'll learn Monday.
The administration has not provided Congress and the American people with critical details about the scope and immediacy of the threats, Schumer said. More Free Talk Live coming up. You can call 603-283-6160 to get in on the conversation with us. That's 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
When commercials come on, don't push the button. Instead, listen. Even if you don't sell things for a living, you're still selling in the various conversations and transactions that make up your busy day. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. So take a lesson from Madison Avenue. Often the fewer words, the more effective the message. Like Jiffy Lube, where you never need an appointment, or the Office Max ad that says, you supply the ambition, we supply everything else. How about online ticket broker StubHub.com, the way in when it's sold out, or CyberCupidMatch.com's seductive, go ahead, it's okay to look. How cleverly and succinctly can you distill your message? For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Iran agreed to hold further talks in Vienna this week regarding a possible new nuclear deal. The talks in Geneva on Thursday came amid a huge buildup of U.S. military assets in the Middle East. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
The Omani foreign minister, who's been mediating the talks between the United States and Iran, said there'd been significant progress at the talks, with creative and positive ideas being discussed. Iran admitted the negotiations had been very serious, but both sides agreed to hold further technical discussions next week in Austria. The talks come amid a huge buildup of US military assets in the region, including 2 aircraft carriers and hundreds of combat jets, and Washington has not yet ruled out a military strike on Iran if it fails to sign up to a nuclear deal. Tehran says it has no intention of building a nuclear weapon and only wants to use nuclear energy for civil needs.
U.S. President Donald Trump wrapped up the longest State of the Union speech in American history, hailing his turnaround while championing economic and immigration accomplishments. He lamented the recent Supreme Court decision against his tariffs and again warned Iran about obtaining a nuclear weapon. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
It was the longest speech in State of the Union history, almost an hour and 50 minutes, during which time the president focused on largely domestic issues, the economy and immigration, trying to prove to voters who'll be voting in the midterm elections in November that he is getting the cost of living under control. Polls suggest, though, that many Americans don't believe his vision at a time when inflation remains stubbornly high and many Americans are struggling to afford rent and groceries. He referenced his loss at the Supreme Court on Friday, calling that an unfortunate and disappointing ruling. It was one of the few times that Democrats cheered and clapped during his speech. And again he warned Iran, saying his preference was diplomacy, that he wanted to make a deal, but said Iran must never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon, adding they had sinister ambitions, just days before US and Iranian negotiators are due for the next round of talks in Geneva.
And former U.S. President Bill Clinton testified before a congressional committee about his links to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton testified that he saw nothing and did nothing wrong, describing his connection with Epstein as a brief acquaintance. Clinton flew on Epstein's plane and was photographed with him on several occasions, including with young women. Earlier in the week, former First Lady Hillary Clinton testified under oath that she never encountered Jeffrey Epstein and urged President Trump to testify about his connections to the late sex offender. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is...
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. If you're tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites, our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free. Open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. That's social.freetalklive.com. And with you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
And other Bonnie.
No, it's not. Just say your name.
Colin.
Liar. So, we already said who's with us on the show tonight, but 603-283-6160 is the phone number to bring up whatever is on your mind. I won't be mean to you like I'm mean to Skeeter. You have to understand, Skeeter is annoying. So if you're not no, I'm just kidding. Just honestly, I literally am so excited when a new person calls in with something to say. I can't stand talking to Skeeter though. So don't act like, or don't think, oh, Bonnie, if I call in, it's just going to be mean to me and hang up on me. No, you're not Skeeter. So we have another caller on the line. We have Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
So all this Iraq bombing and the war with Iraq, was it Iran? Iran now.
Yeah, it's Iran.
Confused. Yeah, isn't it about like they have been a communist country and they want to turn it back into a capitalist country?
No.
I hadn't heard that, but what did you hear about that, Sarah?
Well, that is my perspective because before they had that prince that was in they were in cahoots. Like he did what the American oil companies wanted them to do. Supposedly, Iran had a lot of oil, and at that time, before he got thrown out, he let them do whatever he wants. So basically, what they are now is all the oils belong to the public. So basically, they're communists. That's why they're sending bombs to Ukraine to help the Russians from Iran. So Trump wants to turn it back into capitalism like what he's trying to do in Venezuela. It's the same exact thing. By
a lot of countries have nationalized oil industries. I mean, Mexico does, but that doesn't make them communist. It's not a communist country.
I asked, is oil owned by the public in Iran? And it says, yes, oil is officially owned by the public in Iran, but it is managed exclusively by the state. I don't understand why the "but" is in that sentence because public means the state. But anyways, the Iranian, or does it mean going public as in anyone can buy? No, that's like going private, right?
No, that's related to stocks.
Okay, so yes, oil is officially owned by the public in Iran, but is managed exclusively by the state. The Iranian constitution prohibits private or foreign ownership of natural resources, placing control of upstream oil and gas in the hands of the state-owned National Iranian Oil Company. All right, on behalf of the people, which always means it's on behalf of the state.
Yeah, and it's the same thing in Mexico too. Their oil's all owned by and controlled by the government there.
Oh, I've always been speculating that Mexico was communist because I mean they actually have you could travel to Cuba, communist Cuba. They have relations with Cuba and wasn't that famous artist, that lesbian artist? I keep she has that. What was her name? I don't know if I ever heard her name.
Selena?
No, she was an artist and she was lesbian. Like Salma Hayek played in that.
Frida Kahlo. Oh, Frida Kahlo. Yeah.
She wasn't.
Yeah.
She done some lesbian things.
She might have been bisexual. Yeah, she was married to another artist. Diego Rivera. Yeah, I don't know.
Diego Rivera.
Screw that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what made a big deal? But other than that, I knew that she was a communist.
She was. They were friends with Russians.
Trotsky.
Yeah. Trotsky. Yeah, I know. And then they had a stare. That is so silly. So he gets red. I mean, that is hilarious. I mean, and that goes to tell me that Mexico is communist, and so you say that Mexican oil is owned by the whole country. It's public.
Well, it's owned by the government. You know, being owned by the government doesn't mean the people have anything to do with it necessarily. Mexico's not communist. They don't have huge welfare programs. They don't have, there's private ownership of all sorts of stuff. People own their homes.
Is there free college in Mexico?
No, there's no free college in Mexico. I mean, I'm sure there's colleges that might be state funded in some way, just like they are in the U.S., and maybe they have scholarships and things like that.
Well, that's different.
Frida Kahlo was only like a fourth Mexican. It says born to a German father and a mestiza mother. Interesting. I didn't know that. I just pulled up some.
Mestizo it would be Mexican. Mestizo is.
I thought mestiza was half and half. White and.
Yeah, it's like
Okay, so like a fourth native Mexican, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's just interesting to me. I thought she was like, straight up Mexican. I also used to think she lived in San Antonio because when I moved to San Antonio, you see her face everywhere. So I thought like she must be from this place. And I just Googled, did she ever live in Texas? Because like I've always been curious about that. It says she didn't never live there, but she passed through, notably passing through Laredo.
Yeah, they came to the U.S. because Diego was paid to do murals in the U.S. for some different places. He was a famous muralist. I like his art more than hers. I don't like any of her art. I don't like her.
Me either. I don't like her unibrow. I'm just going to say it. And when Salma Hayek played her, that was the best thing that ever happened to Frida Kahlo as far as being shown to look nice and stuff, because that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, there's like, to me, it's like there's a Frida Kahlo, Fritos worship, basically. There's these people, and it's just like, it's over the top. It's like there's other artists and people from Mexico to celebrate, like they're revolutionaries, actually. You could kind of put some of them on the same pedestal as, you do the American revolutionaries.
Well...
Yeah, so you can't. So if you're an American citizen, you can't travel back and forth vacations to Cuba. But I met a Chinese national. They vacationed in Cuba. I mean, because they're both communists. But that's way back when, about 30 years ago. I met people that are living in Shanghai, vacationing in San Diego. They're like, I went to vacation in Cuba. So technically, China's were communists way back then.
It's really big for Canadians to go travel to Cuba because their country just hasn't banned it like ours. Yeah. So honestly, it doesn't really mean that. I mean, it doesn't really. I understand the Chinese are communists. They're run by the Communist Party.
I mean, communism in name.
Yeah, I mean, even
and we're capitalists in name.
Yeah, exactly. And Canada's kind of communist too. I mean, Sarah always like has some points in these things she's pointing out, because it's like she's like, hey, I learned this is a tenet of communism, and they're doing it in this country, and we're like, yep, Sarah, you're right. Like New Mexico, she chose it because it's most communist, like because they give out the most stuff. Thank you for the call, Sarah. And but I couldn't find anything saying that Iran specifically is.
No, that's because if you have just because you do socialism doesn't, right? Because socialism is a tenet of communism. So just because you have elements of socialism in your government doesn't suddenly make you a socialist system.
Or a communist, definitely.
Or a communist system, just because you have certain elements that remind you of a communist system doesn't mean you're within a communist system.
That's a perfect way to say it, remind you of it. I know a bunch of people who are socialist or communist or whatever, left-leaning, and they vote for Democrats. And I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you ever vote for the Democrats? Just
somebody's been making a really good point that like the Democrats in America are somewhat of a right-leaning system. Ideology. And I was like thinking about it. I was like, how could you say that? And I'm like, you know what? They're basically just as much fascist as the next one. So maybe it's a good point. Fascism is a right-wing ideology. I'm not saying that makes it good or bad.
Well, I don't think they're fascists. What they're authoritarians.
No, listen,
this is why I say fascist because it's like
they want to get the government involved
with
in
businesses,
just as much as the right wing.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that's I think that's kind of the catch-22 is that fascism really is just communism.
It is actually.
It's just kind of played out in a different way. Like, what did Benito Mussolini say? I always quote this all the time. He said that fascism literally is the joining of corporation and state.
Yeah.
So if the state and the corporations have now combined, well, that's just a communist system, dude.
But
the state
in communism,
there
isn't even the corporations. It's literally just the state, and they took the corporations, and nobody's allowed to be
now they're orchestrating. Yeah, I can. Yeah,
and I'm not saying
sense.
one's really better than the other, but I just think that the fascist is a little bit more right wing because of the fact that they're like, it's like authoritarian plus pumping up the business owners, if that makes sense.
Well, but he says you only want to have 4 to 5 businesses that you can squeeze.
Pumping up the business owners, but not a freedom.
Those are your bureaucrats. Those are your communist bureaucrats that you execute when they don't listen to you.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have your minister of coal would just be the owner of the coal company, right? You just change the title. It's still effectively the same position.
And you're right that authoritarian freedom is a more useful, I'd say, column pillar to look at than left right. It's just that when somebody said that the other day, I was like, how could you say that? And I was like, I actually can't see how they would say that. But we have Turd Ferguson online from Pennsylvania. Turd, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Well, Resident Evil 9 came out yesterday, and my copy's still not here. I'm pretty upset about it. It was supposed to be here yesterday sharp.
Maybe because of the snow.
What, like
I don't know,
the game? They came out with another Resident Evil yesterday?
Yeah, it's
Why
Resident
didn't you just
Evil 9
download it on your
Requiem.
computer or your game system? What, you bought a disc?
I pre-ordered it so I could. I pre-ordered the Steelbook version so I can get all the extra updates and the expansions and all the other stuff that came with it when you buy the Steelbook.
And they didn't. You just got your code emailed to you, so you could at least download the game and wait for the physical stuff like later.
No, you can't download the game unless you buy it separately. If you want all the extra stuff, you got to buy the Steelbook, which I did, and it's not here. And from what I can tell, I mean, I was bummed out too because I clicked on a YouTube video earlier and it was all these spoilers. I was like, oh my god! It's like at least warn me.
Is this a continuation of Village, or not Village? Village was the one before that. The one
it's
in
Village
the castle.
Was Resident Evil 8. No, that was Resident Evil 4.
Oh no, I'm
yeah.
talking about
well,
the big vampire lady.
Yeah, with the big milk cannon.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
That's 8, right? Is that so? It's a continuation of that story.
8. That's Resident Evil 8. No, that story's done, but it is the sequel to that story, I guess. It's happened afterwards. But what really burps me up is that Jill Valentine is apparently nowhere to be found, according to the other gamers. Imagine not having JV in Resident Evil 9. What were they thinking? My God. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the new girl in it, I won't lie, she is pretty hot, but she's no JV. You know what I'm saying?
Are you just nostalgia baiting? You're just member burying, though?
Member burying.
Like, I mean, if you go back to like the original Resident Evil games, like the polygons are so low, you can't really tell who's attractive. You're just kind of looking at triangles.
Well, if you go back to the remake, the remake of the original one for the GameCube in 2002, you could definitely see JV, and she was sexy.
Wait,
and
did they have that on GameCube?
Yeah, and then when the remake came out of Resident Evil 3 just a few years ago, JV was sexier than she's
Nintendo
ever
GameCube?
been.
Yeah.
Yes. That's correct.
Well, okay, no, I'm just like thinking like Nintendo would allow a game like that on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Of course they would.
Okay.
It was badass. It was amazing. Yeah, and I just wish JV was in it. But of course they got Leon Kennedy because everybody loves Leon because he's just like the super stud of Capcom now, going around, roundhouse kicking people in the face. But I'm all bummed out. I just wish that my copy would have shown up on time. Now I got to wait for it.
That is
It
really lame.
makes me mad.
Ian, he's in
Yeah, I know.
prison in Pennsylvania now, and he said just yesterday that the groundhog started coming out of the ground. So that's a good sign for spring.
Yo, yeah, it's been really warm the last couple of days. Oh my God, I'm so happy.
Me too.
Yeah, like it was weird because like we got hit with these 2 snowstorms. Usually the weather in Pennsylvania is really good for winter comparatively, but this winter sucked. It was terrible.
Today,
Hated it.
was almost 50 degrees, so it felt really warm to me, and I took a walk for the first time in seriously like a month.
Listen, folks, the only people you can blame for the weather is government.
Yeah,
They're
it's
seeing the
amazing.
clouds.
Have you ever heard of HARRP? Wait, is that it? HARRP?
HARP. It's HARP.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I mixed it up with AARP or whatever every time. Anyways.
Well, AARP is for old people.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Bonnie's going to be one next year.
I hate you. You'll always be older than me.
Well, it was like 60 degrees in Shrewsbury today,
Dang,
and that was
nice.
amazing. Yeah, it was badass. Felt
Does it get
so good.
instantly humid like it does in New Hampshire? Like as soon as the snow melts and any heat arises, it's instantly humid?
No, it wasn't like that today at all. The weather was just fantastic. It was just really light jacket weather. I went to the gym in the afternoon. I got a 2.5 mile run in. I'm a little lazy lately. Actually, my abs are kind of like slightly starting to disappear. I was bummed just because I've been working my ass off. I work like 7 days a week. And then, I start doing that. And then it really bums me out because I was very proud of my Calvin Klein model body. I mean, my abs are still there, but they're not like they were. They're not like diamond cut now. You know what I mean? But
well, that's just
but I
that's
don't know.
food intake, man. That's if you abs popping at that level. I mean, that's kind of like diet at that point, isn't it? Like water intake.
No,
I mean, you're not
no,
trying to like
because-
cut down for a show or whatever, but
Well, the issue, yeah, but I maintained that for years and years. The issue is that, like, just because I can't go to the gym, like I'm so used to running 2.5 miles at least every single day, and now I'm just working from dawn to dusk 7 days a week, 2 jobs.
Ugh,
That's
fat.
the problem.
So fat.
I know, and yeah, trust me, it bums me out. But long live JV. They need to bring her back. God, she looks so good in that blue tube top.
Yeah. Every time he talks about this chick and I've ever looked it up, I'm like, I don't understand. She looks like Casey Anthony to me. Like, she literally has a Casey Anthony haircut. I don't understand. She's like, looks like the most basic brown-haired white girl in the world. And I don't understand. But apparently it's not just her. There is a whole internet, like, group, a huge group of people that are obsessed with Jill Valentine, the video game character. It's like, thanks for the
yeah, but that's
culture.
like every character. That's Rule 34.
What does that mean?
Rule 34 is if a thing exists, then
there's a fetish for
you
it,
can
and
find
it's
porn
online,
of it on
yeah.
the internet.
Ew.
Yeah, that's just rule. Yeah.
That makes sense. And there's tons of women that do cosplays of it, and like some of them are people's favorites. Like, oh, she should play, and it's like, this chick doesn't have acting skills. She cosplays sexily as Jill Valentine on Instagram. So come on.
You cosplay as a radio show host.
No, you do. So, anyways, this is from Reuters. This is from Reuters.com. Live. Trump says Khamenei is dead. Is that how you say it?
But I don't. Iran's saying no.
Exactly. I was telling Colin before the show that he heard that U.S. is saying they're dead, and I said Iran's saying he's literally, commanding the field. He's out there on horseback.
I mean, there's
Like,
no field
I
of
make that
command
up,
because
but-
there's no soldiers there that we're
It doesn't.
aware of.
I don't understand how that makes any
So-
sense. Like it's like drone strikes, right? So let's get into it. I want to see. I think it's interesting because it's just another tale of fake stories coming from left and right and different. And I don't mean left and right politically. I mean like coming from everywhere.
Well, it's two governments talking, so you know
Yeah.
which one lies better or lies more.
Like I don't know what to believe. Is this guy dead or not? It says Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is dead. State media report, like U.S. state. U.S. President Donald Trump called it greatest chance for Iranians to take back their country. Israel and U.S. launched massive strikes on Iran. I'm going to go back and forth saying it their way and America's way. I'm sorry. Iran retaliates with hits reported in Israel and Gulf states. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess they hit Bahrain, the UAE.
Wait, where's Bahrain again?
It's like
Libya?
Yeah, no, Bahrain. I'm pretty sure Bahrain's like on the outside of, like near Syria, or like Jordan, like on the inside, isn't it? It's not very big.
No, isn't it Isn't it on the
maybe it's on the
Arabian
coast?
Peninsula?
Oh, is it? It's a country. My bad. I thought it was
Yeah.
a place.
No, Bahrain's
it's
a
like
country.
an island. It looks like, and it says an island country and archipelago located in the Persian Gulf in the Middle East. Okay, I always thought that. Whenever I heard that, I always thought it was a city, not a country. So, anyways, yeah, it looks like it's right outside of
Saudi Arabia.
Oh, it moved me whenever I tried to look. Oh, okay, that's Saudi Arabia there. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep,
And it's near
right
Qatar.
outside Saudi Arabia and next to Qatar. 'Cause
And I guess Qatar or Qatar or however they say it.
Qatar. Wait, what?
Some people, I hear people pronounce it Qatar.
Whoa.
I've just always said Qatar, but
Yeah.
I don't know so like all those places have bombs going off in them.
Often. Or you mean right now?
Well, like right now.
Yeah, like missiles fired from Iran,
Yeah.
I guess.
All right. Well,
Or maybe it's the U.S. It's a psyop. Who knows?
yeah. It says
Can you trust these
Israel-
people after their lies during COVID?
Just then, like all the lies ever, but
Yeah, but
even
yeah.
just COVID was bad enough. I understand what you're saying. It says Israel and U.S. launched massive strikes on Iran. Iran retaliates with hits reported in Israel and Gulf states. In Iran, attacks trigger fear and panic as people flee cities. So it says, okay, well, what the heck? I thought there was more article here, but it disappeared, or I'm looking at it wrong. So what have you heard about it so far, Angelo?
Okay, so I was just reading that the only people Iran confirmed that Khamenei's I don't know how to say Khamenei's. So
Which is weird because there's Mencho Khamenei. Isn't that weird? No, like MEN is in both of them. What's that root? root word mean?
They're well, actually they could they could be related because it's part
It
of
means
their,
to think, remind, advise, or warn.
in which language?
The root men, Latin, meaning to think, remind, advise, or warn. It's distinct from the word man with an A, human person. So mention, reminiscent.
Yeah. But
monument and remind.
But irradiant is pretty far. It's related. It's part of the.
But the thing is, we're thinking green language right now. We're not talking about the stuff you care about, the stuff you talk about. Like, we're talking green language. Like, when they say money, and that could. I'm not saying that the Latin root means this. I'm saying mun means one. We can understand that. Monadnock. EY is reminiscent of the word I. Money, one eye. They're taking your life force energy and they're making this money the thing that you think you need when what you really need is to go inside. That's a green language explanation of a word.
I don't know what green language is.
I'm explaining it to you. And they can get across ideas to them, they and those that we don't pay attention to, and they laugh at us because it's right in our faces. And I'm just saying, it's just a thing to notice. Men show, and then 2 days later, 3 days later, whatever, Kameni, just noticing it. Because I've been like, what does El Mencho mean anyway?
I've heard it's racist to notice things, so you should stop that.
El Mencho, it says, I know it's the alias, but I'm not asking that. It says, a common shortened nickname for the name Nemeniso. Okay, so we have to look up what Nemeniso name meaning is. So.
Well, while you're doing that, only thing. Oh, okay.
It means vengeance, righteous anger, or one who deals out justice. Which is like, come on, you changed your name to that so you could go be a cartel leader with that name.
Yeah, because it's not his real name.
That's why I introduced myself a couple minutes ago as Mencho.
But so Iran said that no, the Ayatollah is not dead, but his daughter, his son-in-law, and grandson have been killed in a strike. So that's what Iran has stated, that no, the Ayatollah didn't die, but his family is killed.
Well, okay. That's pretty sad. It's kind of typical though. Like, even that was another thing they were saying during the Mexican things. They were like, now the cartel plans to go after the politicians and like random politicians and families.
That's actually kind of a thing they could do or would do and have
likely,
done.
You mean, yeah.
Well, they've done it. Yeah, they've done that in the past. They've gone after politicians.
They didn't, but that was another thing going around on the boomer things.
But that one, when I heard that one, I was like, oh, okay, this one might be real. But when they're like, they're going to go room to room, door to door, killing, I was just like, oh, shut up.
So 4 minutes ago, U.S. Defense Chief Hegseth says that the Iranian Navy will be destroyed, adding that U.S. military forces are fully unleashed to achieve the objective set by Trump. So I guess they're not only doing attacks on missile silos, but they're going to blow all their boats up too. Like, so this feels like an entire dismantling of the Iranian military. And Trump may mention that this is going to go on for a week.
Whoa.
He said strikes will go on throughout the week or longer if necessary.
Until morale improves.
Yeah, the beatings will continue until morale improves.
More Free Talk Live coming up. That's 603-283-6160, 603-283-6160. To get in on the conversation with us, please call in, bring whatever is on your mind, and more Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live.
I don't care what they wrote down on pieces of paper. The fact is, this government exists through consent. It exists through mass consent because people believe in it. It's a cult. People believe in the idea that it's okay to aggress against their neighbors so long as they have a good reason for it. They believe that it's okay to aggress against their neighbors so long as a majority of people walking into some booth check a box somewhere.
People spend more time thinking about the government and pledging allegiance to the flag than they do. Many people spend more time pledging allegiance to the flag than they do praying to their God. Their religion is this government.
It's actually, if you believe in like the Christian religion and all that, putting other gods above your God is usually a pretty bad thing.
Yeah, to me, the Pledge of Allegiance is simply a prayer to the God of the government.
It's essentially religious indoctrination for the state.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern at freetalklive.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Iran agreed to hold further talks in Vienna this week regarding a possible new nuclear deal. The talks in Geneva on Thursday came amid a huge buildup of U.S. military assets in the Middle East. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
The Yemeni foreign minister, who's been mediating the talks between the United States and Iran, said there'd been significant progress at the talks, with creative and positive ideas being discussed. Iran admitted the negotiations had been very serious, but both sides agreed to hold further technical discussions next week in Austria. The talks come amid a huge buildup of U.S. military assets in the region, including 2 aircraft carriers and hundreds of combat jets, and Washington has not yet ruled out a military strike on Iran if it fails to sign up to a nuclear deal. Tehran says it has no intention of building a nuclear weapon and only wants to use nuclear energy for civil needs. Ross Cullen, Paris.
U.S. President Donald Trump wrapped up the longest State of the Union speech in American history, hailing his turnaround while championing economic and immigration accomplishments. He lamented the recent Supreme Court decision against his tariffs and again warned Iran about obtaining a nuclear weapon. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
It was the longest speech in State of the Union history, almost an hour and 50 minutes, during which time the president focused on largely domestic issues, the economy and immigration, trying to prove to voters who'll be voting in the midterm elections in November that he is getting the cost of living under control. Polls suggest, though, that many Americans don't believe his vision at a time when inflation remains stubbornly high and many Americans are struggling to afford rent and groceries. He referenced his loss at the Supreme Court on Friday, calling that an unfortunate and disappointing ruling. It was one of the few times that Democrats cheered and clapped during his speech. And again he warned Iran, saying his preference was diplomacy, that he wanted to make a deal, but said Iran must never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon, adding they had sinister ambitions, just days before US and Iranian negotiators are due for the next round of talks in Geneva. I'm Nick Harper in Washington.
And former U.S. President Bill Clinton testified before a congressional committee about his links to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton testified that he saw nothing and did nothing wrong, describing his connection with Epstein as a brief acquaintance. Clinton flew on Epstein's plane and was photographed with him on several occasions, including with young women. Earlier in the week, former First Lady Hillary Clinton testified under oath that she never encountered Jeffrey Epstein and urged President Trump to testify about his connections to the late sex offender. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. Border tensions between Pakistan and Afghanistan escalated after Kabul launched a large-scale offensive against Islamabad. Pakistan's Ministry of Information said the country's armed forces were responding with full force. FSN's Hira Mustafa reports from Islamabad.
Pakistan's Deputy Interior Minister says security forces are on high alert in anticipation of possible attacks from Afghanistan. Suspected militants are being arrested nationwide. Surveillance at crowded public places like bus terminals and markets has been increased. Over the weekend, Pakistan carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan, targeting what it said were militant hideouts linked to a recent wave of suicide bombings on Pakistani soil. Islamabad accuses Kabul of allowing fighters to use the Afghan territory as a safe haven. Kabul denies the allegations, maintaining that militancy is Pakistan's internal issue. Earlier this month, a suicide bomber struck a Shia mosque in Islamabad, killing 32 people. Hera Mustafa, Islamabad.
China removed 9 military lawmakers from its national parliament ahead of its biggest annual political meeting. Since coming to power, President Xi Jinping has launched waves of anti-corruption drives. Critics say it's been used as a tool to purge political rivals. FSN's Laura Westbrook reports from Hong Kong.
The country's top legislative body revoked the membership of 5 generals along with 4 other officials, according to state media. No official reason was given, but it comes just weeks after President Xi Jinping's move to place under investigation his top general and one-time ally, Zhang Zhouxia. It is also the latest in a series of purges of high-profile figures in the military over the last few years, which authorities say were part of an anti-corruption drive. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
Those were some of the week's top stories. Iris.
We turn to Washington, D.C., where America's roommates are holding a rally as part of their new One Vote Doesn't Matter political action campaign. The rally, which drew thousands of roommates, ranging from the guy who keeps all of his groceries in his room to the guy whose name the lease is under, is just a part of a surging grassroots movement to spread the message that one person's vote can't make a difference if you really, really think about it.
You know, this is like the most important election of our lifetime. We just want to get the word out that it's already been decided in some smoke-filled boardroom. You know, I pretty much minored in poli-sci, so I think I get this stuff.
Joining us now is Jason Copeland at a rally in the nation's capital. Jason, how would you describe the energy there?
Yeah, hi, Andrea. I'd say it's a definite chill vibe. I just saw the roommate whose only friend seems to be his younger brother and the guy who just has an air mattress in his room passing out flyers together. Now, the roommates do make some interesting points. The Electoral College it is weird.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
Welcome back to Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's the phone number to get in on the conversation with us. Tell us we're wrong, change the subject. It doesn't matter because it's Free Talk Live, and that's the point. 603-283-6160. With you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
At RFK.
Yeah,
don't eat the seed oils. They're
he
really
doesn't
bad.
say that. He's just, maybe during the election season he was saying that. Now he's like,
Red 40, that's what did this to my voice.
Yeah, exactly. He focuses the most on the colorings, and then he's like, well, now we're going to use these estrogenic
Bonnie,
plants.
you have to listen. They killed my father.
And now they're going to do estrogenic plants.
And now they're gonna
guess what?
kill
The new
me.
dyes are owned by the same stupid criminals that they were
The
sending money
DuPonts
to
or
before.
Monsanto.
All the same people.
Yeah, those guys.
And they're still bad for you, just in a different way. It's like, oh, we're getting rid of the thing that made little boys too energetic, so that way we can make everybody estrogenic. Great. That's worse, in my opinion.
Oh, geez. She's not just running with the joke here.
Well, okay. In RFK's defense, I do like what they did with the new food pyramid, how they restructured that.
I think it's all literally rubbish. I don't think that one's correct. I don't think the old one's correct. They look like they're doing something because they're like, oh, look, we finally are acknowledging this one's wrong, and they just put something else. I'm not saying, like, you shouldn't eat like that. I'm just simply saying I'm not going to eat like that, and I also think that it's fake.
Well, pushing red meats closer to the top of your diet. I don't know. or like just meat, staying away from the grains. Isn't that where like all the bloat is in this fake gluten and bloated bread, that like fake bread that we eat? That
yeah, but the thing is, like, just saying grains is not the same as saying the seed oil laden, fake vitamin, absolutely laden bread product we have nowadays. Like, just if we were actually buying, like, I order my flour, I'm almost scared to say because I'm afraid they, them, and those are going to start poisoning it. 1 and 2, I'm a little afraid people are going to be like, I'll do the same thing and take all my flour. But I order my flour from Shulo in Finland or Sweden. I can't remember right now, but the Shulo brand, you can Google that and they'll tell you where it's from, because they have the strictest
guidelines, FDA guidelines, or whatever their equivalent of the FDA.
Yeah, for the poisons they put on fields when they
glyphosates and
yes, all that stuff, all the insecticide, pesticide stuff. So if you just actually pay attention to what is in the bread, you can't just say bread is bad for you, because a Wonder Bread, what's in that? A ton of the fake vitamins that they want to pump into you, which, yes, technically have made it to where there aren't B12 or B vitamin deficiencies in all of America like they used to be. But also, you don't need... Would you sit there and take a giant iron medicine pill every single day? Probably not. Like,
well, but it's even worse than that, because they extract all the nutrients out of the wheat to begin with and then add stuff back into it.
In an unnatural... Like, the thing is, the food matrix is so vitally important that God made fruit in a way that you're going to get the things you need out of it and not get the things you don't need out of it, even if the fruit needs it. Like, if you're eating a fruit and it has something in it that your body doesn't need, your body can, like, get rid of it. But if it's in this fake messed up form that they've just injected into these Wonder Breads, your body's gonna have to like store it in a way that's harmful to you, including like all the iron they put in it and folic acid, so bad for you.
Well, and that's why a lot of people go paleo, right? Because they say, well, if everything's so fake, let's just eat like how cavemen eat. But you don't get it. The fruits and vegetables have been so drastically changed from their original forms. Like, I'm pretty sure like half the vegetables we eat come from wild mustard, and they've just been genetically like broke down. Like, I think it's like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and one other all come from like the same parent plant, like an ancient plant that we've.
I agree that you can't just eat like your ancient ancestors, and that's silly. I also agree.
Well, no, I think you can't anymore because they've changed they've ruined the food.
But the other thing about it is that if you want to eat like your ancient ancestors, well, you better be eating dairy and bread, like actual bread, and not like this crap junk seed oil bread, because 10,000 years ago, we discovered bread, and white people mostly ate so much bread, it's ridiculous, and they weren't all obese, and they weren't all having heart problems and pulmonary embolism.
Well, they also ate a ton of meat and cheese and milk. And,
yeah, sure.
I said cheese dairy. Products. Yeah, dairy's like the big one.
I want to get a picture of this new pyramid, really. I meant to write new food pyramid, but I wrote new pyramid, and the main thing that popped up is like a picture of a pyramid. So JFK's new pyramid, and it's like he made it look different too, so it's harder to read. It's just pictures. It's so stupid.
My food pyramid has an eye at the top, so you have to make sure to eat at least one eye a day.
He put protein, dairy, and healthy fats all up at the same exact level as fruits and vegetables. And then like going down, and there's a picture of an avocado in there, which has dangerous amounts of PUFAs in it, just so you know. There's a picture of a shrimp there right under the egg. And then whole grains at the very bottom. Oh yeah, they're so bad for you. They're going to kill you because JFK said so. You need to eat a whole bunch of leaves before you need to eat whole grains? No, I don't believe that at all.
Well, I think if they're real whole grains, like Dave's Killer Bread is a great... I think if you're looking for like pretty close to, or Ezekiel Bread, that's a good bread company.
I don't like those. So the thing about Ezekiel Bread is at least there's not like seed oils in it, and maybe Dave's too, I can't remember now. But the thing I don't like about them is if it's made in America, it's poisoned. And then two, Ezekiel Bread, it doesn't actually have like if you make sourdough bread, it's long fermented, your body's already like helped out with the digesting process. When you're eating sprouts, you can eat a bunch of leaves and sprouts, but you're not an orangutan. Your body's not able to ferment that yourself, and it bloats you, and it's not actually good for you. And if you harm your gut, everything else is harmed. And that's why I'm like LOLing at the giant picture of leaves right up at the top. It's like you don't need to eat more
leafy
leaves.
greens?
Yeah, you don't need to eat more leafy greens.
You're
than you
not
need
a
to eat
rabbit.
grapes.
This is Ron Swanson.
Yeah, you're not a rabbit, and also you're not an orangutan, and you don't have a giant belly that ferments things for you. See what I mean?
Speak for yourself.
Well, wouldn't they point out that that's just fiber if your body can't break it down fast enough? Isn't that?
Yeah, but there's fiber in plenty of things that are better for you. Like if you eat like a carrot, that's probably, if you eat carrot a day, you don't really need that much more fiber. It's like people imagine it's getting into your stomach and scratching on the sides and getting all the crap out. All you need is to fuel your body so that your body can actually move. I mean, your guts can actually move things out. You need energy for your gut to be able to move by itself. There's not any food you're going to eat that sits in or gets in there like a comb and scrapes the sides down.
That sounds horrible, actually.
It's actually bad for you because if you're drinking a lot of alcohol or a lot of other things, you probably have holes in your gut, leaky gut syndrome, and then you're just like going to be like, let me put a bunch of mechanical pressure on my gut. Most Americans have bad guts. So, not me. I have a perfect gut. That's all I have to say. Because guess what I eat? Mostly dairy, I'd say. Mostly dairy.
No, you eat mostly sugar. I've seen it.
And tons of sugar.
Candy all day long.
And all kinds of good fats like butter. Sometimes I just eat a spoonful of coconut oil to get my saturated fat up. And I forget most days. I need to like put it on a piece of paper and put it on the wall. But either way, coconut oil is the most highly saturated fat.
Why don't you just eat an animal fat instead?
No, coconut oil is the most saturated. Animal fat is second, but I'm not going to sit around eating animal fat because that's gross and I can easily get grossed
tasty.
out. No, I would never just
like a spoonful of like
duck
cold.
fat.
Not cold. I'd heat it up.
But
Ew.
so and then like drink hot oil, like warmed oil.
Don't you like fat on the edge of a steak?
I mean, like
that's a totally different experience. Are you gonna are you gonna re-solidify it slightly? Because like the fat on the end of the steak has texture. It's not like a liquid.
Yeah, and it has so much flavor.
No, I like
so
it when
good.
you bite into it. It's kind of like
And it falls apart. Yeah, that's the falling apart. You're trying to drink it as if it's already fallen apart. It's
not even like a tasty snack to eat coconut oil, but at least it's not disgusting to me. Like the idea of drinking duck fat is kind of gross. Putting it in a pan and using it, sure. So you brought up the food pyramid thing, and that got me on a tangent. It's like I can't like educate people on what I believe as far as nutrition in a 5-minute rant, but I would suggest people go check out these Strong Sistas. Wait, the Strong Sistas on Instagram. That's how you say their name.
You talk about this.
And wait. The other thing.
The more Skeeter is going to call in and be like,
What you libertarians don't understand is fats are bad for you.
Yep, that's true. But anyways, the other thing you can check out to get those people's information who are so awesome is the Rooted in Resilience podcast. So, because it's just like somebody's going to call and be like, oh yeah, well, guess what? I think this. And it's like, how many seconds of like, reading about this have you put into this? And it's like, it's boring to me, you know what I mean? It's like annoying. And milk. I drink so much raw milk. I never get constipated. I always feel good 99% of the time. I had that insane ovary problem. No idea why that happened to me. And then they put me on all kinds of stupid drugs that messed up my immune system for about 6 months. Had this surgery, threw away the birth control pills they gave me, fixed myself with chaseberry tincture because I was just tired of these pills they put me on that were hurting me. And now I'm fixed 100%, and I haven't been even gotten a cold since then. So please, if you're going to call in and tell me I'm wrong, you better have something to back it up, please. But anyways, did you have more to say about the food pyramid? What were we talking about before that, actually?
I just did an RFK impression, and that triggered you, apparently.
Well, no, I think we were dunking on RFK, and I said something about, at least he did the food pyramid thing, and Bonnie revolted against the idea of the food pyramid.
They put vaccines in the food.
It's triggering because he's not even anti-vaccine anymore. Here's the thing why it's triggering. He is COINTELPRO, and all of the libertarians, during the campaign, were like, everybody that's running for office is good now all of a sudden. Not just we're not just voting to free Ross. We're going to vote because Trump is going to change everything and seriously falling for all that stuff. And it was pretty annoying in general.
I actually, speaking about the Trump stuff, I mean, what happened, to this guy? I think they replaced him 4 months into the presidency. Because it was
you don't think it was when they shot at him?
No, because it was all looking good at the beginning. It's we're doing this Doge thing. I was like, okay, that's actually something. And they were actually getting all the data and being like, these are the things that need to be cut, these are the people that need to be fired, blah 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 blah. And then there was, like the Freed Ross, and the first 4 months in, at least they were starting to, or looking like they were going to, fulfill campaign promises.
Well, yeah, but that's part of the rug pull, isn't it? He had to get all of his.
No, because usually they don't even fake it at the beginning. They just immediately go in and don't do anything. But yeah, all of a sudden it's like, after whatever 6 months in or 4 months, whatever it was, like by the time the summer came around, it's like just getting worse and worse. It's like, oh, now we're going to do the wars. Oh, now we're going to do this. Oh, now we're going to do all this other stuff.
Punch Elon Musk in the eyeball. Remember that?
No, not specifically.
Whenever Trump and Elon Musk got in a fight, and the next day he had a black eye.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Well, Trump didn't get in a fight.
No, like a fighting words fight.
Oh,
remember?
no. I thought Elon Musk got in an argument with some other guy, some staffer.
He got in a fight, argument with Trump, and they were going back and forth on Twitter and stuff. And
I remember that. The whole bro fight.
And that's when that bromance was over.
Yeah.
And that's when Elon Musk said, you know what? The reason Trump hasn't released the Epstein files is because he's in them. Not me. And then when they come out, maybe he didn't expect this, but they come out and they show Elon Musk begging to go to the island.
And he just wasn't cool enough to get in.
Literally embarrassing.
Isn't that...
Seriously cringe.
Is it... I don't know if it's... I think it's cringe to beg to get in, but think about how... I don't know how much of a loser you have to be to where the most evil people in the world don't even want to, don't want your help.
Don't want to be around you.
Yeah. You have, access to so much wealth and influence, and you're just so lame that they don't even.
Yeah.
It's like that is a real supervillain backstory. He was so lame that the supervillains didn't even want to be
my favorite
his friend.
Villain backstory is Bill Gates getting pied in the face.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that. Who did it?
Oh, I don't know if we know who did it, but yeah, after that he's like, I'm gonna kill all of you. I'm gonna start by making Windows horrible.
On February 5th, 1998, Microsoft chairman Bill Gates was hit in the face with a cream pie by prankster Noel Godin and his group in Brussels, Belgium. The incident occurred as Gates arrived for a meeting. Oh, wow, he just arrived for the meeting. That's bad.
Yeah.
With business leaders. Unhurt.
They got him twice. They hit him once. Have you seen the video?
I feel like I have it, but it's
he's walking, and
so
the guy just comes by and has the pie, just smacks it right into his face. And then, Bill Gates is like, oh, I kind of what the heck just happened? And then another guy comes by as he walks another 5 feet and hits him in the face with another one.
That's so mean. I almost feel bad for Bill Gates.
Well, I think wasn't this after Bill Gates was doing a bunch of horrible stuff already?
I don't know, honestly. 1998.
Or were they just dunking on the nerd?
No, it was. I think it was around the time when the U.S. government was going after him and saying he was a monopoly and all that sort of stuff.
It says, unhurt but shocked, Gates declined to press charges, later joking that the pie was not very tasty. The perpetrator, it says, it was led by Belgian anarchist and surrealist prankster Noel Godin, who had previously targeted other famous figures. Reasoning: Godin targeted Gates for functioning in the service of the capitalist status quo. So he's just an anti-capitalist.
He's just a communist. So he got pied by some communists that didn't like that he owned a company, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you know what? I'll just kill all of you. That's very nerd. I think the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World has done irreparable damage to the psyche of
what, for making nerds think that you can get a girl just being a nerd?
Yeah, or I think we've empowered them too much, and then it turned out that they were actually, there was a reason people didn't hang out with them, and it wasn't because they were nerdy, it's because they were evil. They
were not nice people. Right now. by the jock.
I mean, the Epstein files is just a bunch of nerds talking about how much they hate the rest of humanity, and they've just gotten enough money to do something about it.
Yeah, Epstein himself was not a
We've got the nerd, the jock, and then Bonnie with her pom-pom. She's the cheerleader here. If you don't see the video, Bonnie has these pens that have basically pom-poms on the top of them.
Yes. I was never a cheerleader, trust me. I was never really in any
group. She's bitter because they wouldn't let her into the cheerleaders.
Yeah, I tried so many times. No, I never would have tried.
They were going to put her at the bottom of the pyramid.
I didn't like exercise at all in high school, so I definitely would have never done that. But anyway,
I deserve to be popular. Get to the bottom of the pyramid, Bonnie.
You're going to hold up Helga. Oh, this is interesting, and I thought it was so funny because there's a funny picture. It has Bill Clinton kind of smiling with his evil, dead eyes, and it says, Bill Clinton says, I did nothing wrong. So let's read what he said.
Did he? Just like how he didn't have sexual relations with that woman?
I did not have sex with that woman.
So Bill Clinton denies wrongdoing during hours of questioning in House Epstein investigation. And the thing was, the Clintons wanted these to be public, but the government said no.
No, I thought they wanted them to be...
Like
I thought the
live stream.
Clintons wanted them to be...
Yeah, what did I say?
Private.
No. The Clintons were like, we'll do it, but it has to be public. And I'm not saying that they're amazing. I think that it could be, strategy.
They're just going to lie. I mean, look at the Les Wexner interview where he was just, I was an old man and I just gave him power of attorney because I just wanted to, I thought he was my friend. It's come on, dude. Those guys aren't running multi-billion-dollar empires and just handing over power of attorney willy-nilly because they get duped.
I'm really annoyed because the article I just clicked on, which is the one with the funny picture, it's just a stupid video. It's like I've been running into so much of that today. Like I want an article. So I found this from 23 hours ago. Bill Clinton asked about hot tub photo and testifies he knew nothing of Epstein crimes. Wow, there's a picture of him and Epstein rocking matching shirts. Former President Bill Clinton told a congressional... This is from BBC.com. Thanks for not just making it a video. Former President Bill Clinton told a congressional panel he saw nothing and did nothing wrong. Those are in quotes. In relation to the late sex offender...
That depends what the definition of is.
To the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The all-day hearing behind closed doors in New York featured the former president being asked about his inclusion in newly released files relating to the financier, including a photo with an unidentified person in a hot tub. His testimony came one day after his wife, ex-U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, told the committee she also had no idea of Epstein's crimes. I didn't forget. I missed the news of her testifying too, so I'd love to hear everything she said as well. But let's see. Appearing in the files is not an indication of wrongdoing, and neither Clinton has been accused of misconduct by Epstein survivors who have come forward so far. Okay, so the thing is, they've been accused as far as like people who don't want to say their names. There's like these 9 women who are like, well, all of us happen to start at like 17, just so it makes us look a little less like victims. All of us started at 17 and wanted to be like models, and they're just like, of the survivors who have come forward so far. You realize there's like, if you read the files, this is something encompassing thousands of people at least. This isn't just 9 survivors. So the idea that it means anything to put in an article, well, the Clintons haven't been accused by the 9 people who have come forward that keep being shown in the pictures in the Congress meetings and stuff like that. Like, that means nothing to me.
I'm not sure that everybody who's associated with him has ever done anything. I mean, I think just like anything, there's inner circles and there's outer circles.
My point isn't what.
Yeah. No, and I'm not trying to defend the Clintons.
No. My point isn't that though. My point is that they're accused. Just they're like, oh, the people have come forward so far. Well, files include hundreds of accusations, but these people don't rightly don't want to come forward with their names.
I'm kind of being tangential, but I was going to make a broader point. I mean, the thing is, all of these people who run everything all get together and work together on stuff. And I think that's, perhaps the thing that's the biggest takeaway, whether or not any one of them was specifically killing and eating children or whatever. It's the fact that all of these elites have private places they go and get together and do stuff and talk about stuff and work buddy with each other and
conspire.
We're there's a big club and we're not part of it,
Well, that's what I hate, the whole conspiracy talk. Like, I mean, obviously this is a conspiracy, but like, what is the definition of a conspiracy? Like, if you conspire with somebody, like I could conspire with you two to go get dinner tomorrow, right? We're in a conspiracy to get dinner at 5:00 tomorrow. We've conspired to do this.
And every time the government charges someone with 2 more people together in doing something together, they are the conspiracy theorists. They have a theory that you guys conspired together to
and that's
do something.
RICO, right?
Yeah. Every RICO charge, the government is a conspiracy theorist. I think people need to think about this, and I think you're right. Yes, so doing things together, they're conspiring together against the rest of the people. All these people that happen to live in these highly guarded, gated communities that happen to have bunkers underneath their houses. Some of them live on this island out off of, maybe it's Miami? This island off of Miami where they literally have turrets. Like if you think, oh, I'll just target that if stuff hits the fan. You're gonna get shot down by a turret on this island that happens to have, the owner of Amazon lives there.
Bezos.
Yeah, Bezos. More Free Talk Live coming up 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Call in with whatever's on your mind. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live.
Hey, you are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Iran agreed to hold further talks in Vienna this week regarding a possible new nuclear deal. The talks in Geneva on Thursday came amid a huge buildup of U.S. military assets in the Middle East. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
The Yemeni foreign minister, who's been mediating the talks between the United States and Iran, said there'd been significant progress at the talks, with creative and positive ideas being discussed. Iran admitted the negotiations had been very serious, but both sides agreed to hold further technical discussions next week in Austria. The talks come amid a huge buildup of US military assets in the region, including 2 aircraft carriers and hundreds of combat jets, and Washington has not yet ruled out a military strike on Iran if it fails to sign up to a nuclear deal. Tehran says it has no intention of building a nuclear weapon and only wants to use nuclear energy for civil needs.
U.S. President Donald Trump wrapped up the longest State of the Union speech in American history, hailing his turnaround while championing economic and immigration accomplishments. He lamented the recent Supreme Court decision against his tariffs and again warned Iran about obtaining a nuclear weapon. FSN's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
It was the longest speech in State of the Union history, almost an hour and 50 minutes, during which time the president focused on largely domestic issues, the economy and immigration, trying to prove to voters who'll be voting in the midterm elections in November that he is getting the cost of living under control. Polls suggest, though, that many Americans don't believe his vision at a time when inflation remains stubbornly high and many Americans are struggling to afford rent and groceries. He referenced his loss at the Supreme Court on Friday, calling that an unfortunate and disappointing ruling. It was one of the few times that Democrats cheered and clapped during his speech. And again he warned Iran, saying his preference was diplomacy, that he wanted to make a deal, but said Iran must never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon, adding they had sinister ambitions, just days before US and Iranian negotiators are due for the next round of talks in Geneva.
And former U.S. President Bill Clinton testified before a congressional committee about his links to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton testified that he saw nothing and did nothing wrong, describing his connection with Epstein as a brief acquaintance. Clinton flew on Epstein's plane and was photographed with him on several occasions, including with young women. Earlier in the week, former First Lady Hillary Clinton testified under oath that she never encountered Jeffrey Epstein and urged President Trump to testify about his connections to the late sex offender. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 to call in with whatever's on your mind and get on Free Talk Live with us. With you tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Angelo.
And Colin. I would just be doing my Colin voice.
Oh my gosh.
10 out of 10.
Good Colin impression. Oh my god, that nasally little sniveling. So we already have a caller in line, so we can go straight to the phones and to the fun. The number 603-283-6160 to get in on the conversation with us in this last segment of Free Talk Live. We have Libertaria. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to call in, and I'm curious about this green language thing that you mentioned with Khamenei, because I mean, his name is a transliteration of the Farsi. So, like, how can you break down what his name means if that's not the actual letters that he would use?
Because it doesn't really matter. It's what's going to end up in the news and make headlines, and people are going to see it. I don't think it has anything to do with like a scientific reason. I think that's what you guys are all kind of missing out on. It's like, you could say, let's use this for an example, because like nothing else is coming to mind right now. I'm going to like piss my parents off. I'm not saying this is true, but some people have used the example of the name Jesus as a green language example, meaning G, which is another term for God in a lot of these circles. G is us, Jesus. So it's not scientific. It's like, what can you say with the smallest amount of syllables and get a point across to people? And I'm not saying that I know that El Mencho and this other guy's names are related. It's just like, that's something I noticed. What can we figure out about it?
What I'm saying, they don't use the same letters as us. Like, they write in a different direction. Like, it's not even close to the same.
And I'm just telling you that what's ending up in the headlines is the English letters of the names. Like, what's confusing about that? It's not like a scientific
I mean, it's not confusing.
method.
That's how transliteration works. But I'm saying that they just do it because we can't read Farsi. Like, it's not.
I still think you're confused about what I'm saying.
Sounds. I'm very confused. That's why I'm asking the question.
Well, I already explained it, so I think everybody else gets it. It's like a...
Okay.
So, but wouldn't the sounds, wouldn't it not matter how it's like written if it's a sound?
Well, no, it's because that's why everyone calls it Iran, but it's actually pronounced Iran. Like, it's pronounced Iran, but everyone calls it Iran because those are the letters that we use. And so when you say that, like, when you're trying to interpret Khamenei based on the letters we chose for the transliteration, it's the same thing with Kyiv in Kiev, is that the reason why we have problems with it is because we don't use the same letters as Ukrainians.
You don't understand what I'm saying, that like when they transliterate it and it gets into the headlines and they want to make a statement back and forth to each other, or it just has something to do with like their, it can be like the spells they're casting and the ritual they're engaged in, like in 9/11, they already know what's going to go on to the headlines. When they strike Iran, it doesn't matter what you call it. They already know it's going to go into the headlines, and it's the person whose name was chose to be that, maybe, like 50 years ago, maybe before he was born. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if these people all work together. If you just don't believe that, then it's like, how could that happen? Good for you. Good for you. No one works together against you, ever. You see what I mean? It's not that hard to understand.
I am completely lost. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, good for you. Like, I think I explained it perfectly fine. Green language isn't a scientific thing. It's not a language with a tree that you can be like, oh, and this means this. It's getting a point across without, I already explained it. Like, if you don't understand what I mean when I gave the money example, and I tried to Google really quickly, like, green language examples, but of course they hide this. It's like greenwashing and crap like that. Like, a bunch of stuff that is not related to what I'm talking about. I think that there is another word for it. It's more figurative. It takes liberties in order to make a point get across. Like money and one eye. EY doesn't literally spell I in the English language. It doesn't mean we don't get to extrapolate that out. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
I get what you're
hard to
saying. No,
understand.
I see. No, I understand what you're saying. I don't think I could explain it better
And
than
you
you
don't have to agree. Like, I'm not asking you or Libertaria or Colin to agree with me. I'm saying, like, it's not hard to understand.
She's not asking.
I'm telling.
She is. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. I understand what you're saying. I don't think I could. But I don't think I could regurgitate it in a way that you haven't already. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know what. Like, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're trying to get across.
It's like coded language is another way to say it. Like, you don't have to have a one-to-one translation. Oh, it's so easy that Libertariat can just Google whether or not I'm right. You see what I mean? Because there always has to be a the ability to say, like, oh no, how could you say that? That's what's it called when you
obfuscate,
but also try not to be obviously guilty. It's like, I have the ability to say I'm not involved in that. And there's a word.
Like you're lacking culpability.
No.
Yeah, there's a very specific term for them. It's like, oh, well, I always have the ability to deny that I'm
plausible deniability.
There we go, plausible deniability. Exactly.
But there's another word too. Anyway.
So here's what they say when I typed in green language examples conspiracy in the AI overview. The term green language, or la langue verte, which is French, I guess, in the context of conspiracy, esotericism, and occultism, refers to symbolic coded language used by alchemists, initiates, which is why you wouldn't totally understand it right away or know all of them.
I know chemistry.
And hidden societies to conceal knowledge from the uninitiated while revealing it to the knowledgeable.
In fact, I know all chemistry.
They also call it the language of the birds. Calm
down, Walter White.
So, conspiracy theories involving green language. Now, I want to see examples. So, other uses.
Work week?
I'm just looking for
weekend?
I don't know.
Have you never heard that before?
What is that supposed to mean? Just explain it.
Somebody said that all of the words in English are chosen in a way that they have double meanings and that they like kind of play with our minds. So it's like you have your work week, so you're weak while you're working, and then you have the weekend. After the work week, you're weak in the end. You know, like at the end of it. There's a bunch of other examples. It's kind of funny. I don't follow it. I don't.
This
believe
is
it.
heavily restricted online. I literally found one thing that I could finally find that would maybe get me an example, and it says book club. It's vocal.media/book club, and it says the green language, decoding the esoteric language of the birds, and the top says content warning. This story may contain sensitive material or discuss topics that and on top of that, it's just hard to find. So, and it doesn't. This doesn't reflect the official policy or position of Vocal. So apparently, somebody wrote a book. I really would love to get like an example really quickly for you guys, but this person is reviewing a book and not making it very, very easy for me to just pull up an example.
Is there any other news to talk about, or?
Of course there is, but somebody called in about something. I'm talking about it. I mean, we can change.
Well, I was just thinking before we went to break, we were talking about how yeah, these billionaires do live on islands with turrets, and it's not like you can just. That's what these class war. I see comments online and like people talk about it. Even at the place I work, they'd be like, "We're just waiting for the class war, man." And I was like, "There isn't a class war, right? Because what are you going to go to this island with turrets and just get eviscerated by missiles from planes that you can't even see, right? And then you don't have any capital to begin with, like because you're the poors. And then if you're going to mobilize against people, like with any like actual force, you need money and food and
at least
transport.
Something that's equal to their weapons.
Yes.
I think that's a huge reason that they don't mind us having guns in America at this stage, because it's like they have something insane.
Yeah, and they have the ability to get food from one side of the country to the other, because that's really what wins fights, is how far you can stretch your army out with your rations. And the class war, just that doesn't exist unless you get invested in by capital, and then you're just a capitalist. And so there really isn't a class war, and you can't really hold these people accountable. And it kind of is almost I'm not
black-pilled.
Well, no, I'm not trying to like promote feudalism, because I think there's issues within that system, but like a feudal lord had like a responsibility to his people to like kind of be a good dude, or they'd get together and cut his head off and replace him. So he was kind of he had more account. He was held to more account by his people, and he kind of felt like there was a duty bound in a lord's mind, almost. At least that's what they said, that he had a duty to the people that lived on his land to kind of manage it appropriately. Like his serfs had to treat them better. But now we have these billionaires who live on islands that aren't accountable to anybody, not even a government, and there's nobody to stop them. Does that kind of make sense? They own everything and they have no accountability.
Now they own all the land to make food. Like they can just kill you
and
on
they can just do whatever they want, and the peasants can't even get to them.
To a certain degree, I think us focusing on elites, I'm not saying it's not a thing not to be aware of. I'm not saying they don't impact things, but like I'm much more tyrannized by the local government than anybody else. The local police. You know, I even while I was in Mexico, I'm getting calls from somebody I know that lives out in another state, and I have
in Mexico?
No.
Oh.
In another state in the U.S., and I have some stuff at their property, and they're like, yeah, the town's getting on to me because they say that, you know, I have too many vehicles on my property. And it's like, what the hell? Like, can't I just have my stuff at a place, you know, and not be harassed?
Yeah, especially the property owner who's allowing you to have it there. That's crazy.
Yeah, why is the government bothering anybody over this? And so now I have a problem to take care of. Not immediately. There's time to do it. But I have, you know, this stuff that I either need to provide paperwork, you know, to show, or I have to move it to another place or whatever. And this guy may or may not have fines that, you know, just came out of nowhere just because some bureaucrat walked around. And that bureaucrat is backed up by the violence of the state, you know, and so it's, you know, we can complain about billionaires on islands. And yeah, maybe they do these really horrible, evil things. Again, we don't really know. Who knows? Maybe this whole entire Epstein thing is a complete psyop. Maybe, I mean, everything is. You know, all these people were like, he didn't kill himself. And I'm like, how did you even know he existed before this? You know, it's apparently not that secret if all these people knew that this guy existed and were posting memes about it, that, you know, before
but it just proves that if those guys are tied up with, you know, like government officials, then the government is working in tandem. Like it is fascistic, right? They're working together to keep the boot on a regular person's neck.
Yeah, what we need is sort of a mass conscious awakening of people to realize the fundamental evil that is all governments, and that the fundamental rights that people have to their property and to their lives and to their money and to do what they want to do as long as they're not harming anybody. Like these vehicles on this property, that's not harming anybody. You know, somebody is making it a problem by going around and being like, I saw this and I don't think it's right. And it's like, it's
because I found the rule right here.
Yeah, because I found a rule right here, you know. And so, you know, we need to have that. And once we have that mass awakening of people realizing what these fundamentals are, then we can start to starve these beasts. Because the only reason that I need to care about what happens with Iran right now is because there's a government that does it with my name. They use my name and say, we are doing this on behalf of Americans.
Didn't you know we bombed Iran?
Yeah,
today?
we bombed Iran. And then they're using our money through taxation. And then they can force us into the military with drafts, and then they can send us over. So it's all of that stuff that's the real problem. Mm-hmm. You know, these millionaires and all of that. Even there's an argument to that. Like Ted Turner owns, for instance, something like a 10 square mile area somewhere in like Wyoming. I think, I'm not quite sure. And somebody pointed out there's like the only way that he's able to do that is because there's a government. Like, there's no way you could ever actually own 10 square miles, right? Because you'd have to have a structure of people who protect it. But in this case, the town protects it. Like, they protect his property rights.
Who is Ted Turner?
Oh.
Like Turner Warner or something? Like
Turner
TV?
Communication. I mean,
okay.
And that's just an example. I just think of that one because I know that it's a huge amount of land that he owns. And, you know, and he probably pays like nothing in taxes for it. But yet the government, you know, of that town, of that county, has the duty to go out and protect this property.
Probably his own little Zorro ranch, kind of gross.
Well, yeah, probably, but you see what I'm saying? Like, this wouldn't happen if we didn't have these governments. It wouldn't happen if we didn't have taxation. It wouldn't happen if we didn't have these systems.
Yeah.
And we are far more, like, I mean, the guy that called in at the beginning and he said the police do this, the police do that. I'm like, yeah, the police shoot somebody who's running from gunshots being heard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and for no reason, without any, hey, turn around, stop. It's
Probably
the police,
just because he
stop
knew
running.
he could get away with it. And maybe
Yeah.
he was like, hey, they might even think that this person got shot from the shooter, so I get to shoot this person now. No one will find out.
Yeah.
Truly.
Well, wasn't he
They're
wearing a
that sick.
body cam?
The cop was,
I don't know.
yeah. It's all they found out. I mean, the video is very clear. The cop,
Sometimes the
cop just pulls his gun
video
out and
doesn't
shoots
get
this guy.
out.
Shoots somebody who's running.
Footage.
The guy didn't see
He
the
might
cop.
have made some kind of
It's
mistake.
not like he saw the cop and said, screw you, I'm doing whatever. This guy is just running, and he just pulls out his gun and shoots him. But that kind of stuff happens in small towns. It's where New Hampshire. We are far more victimized, brutalized by government at a local level, at a state level, and then of course it's all part of a big system. But Epstein, all I know is they had AI 20 years ago, and every photo we've ever seen is AI generated photo of a fictitious person that never existed.
He looks oddly like Jeremy Kaufman.
That looks.
Just does.
I'm not saying that that's my theory. I'm just saying that
Yeah, I know.
For all it's because it's information that's too far away, from you to ever understand.
Well, speaking of the government actually victimizing people in a smaller, scale, but still it's ridiculous and impeding of their rights. Couple finds $6,000 after car thief who stole their Lexus wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Is that ridiculous?
Wait, they were. I thought you said fines. You said fined.
Fined. So, a couple who had their home invaded and car stolen say they were hit with a shock $6,000 fine because one of the thieves didn't wear a seatbelt.
Was it caught on like a camera or something, and it
Not
just
sure.
auto-generated the ticket?
That sounds right, but let's see.
But how could it be 6,000? That seems
because the government's evil.
I wonder
don't
where
know.
they live, maybe California or something. Leela and Hamid from Australia's Gold Coast.
Oh,
I thought it was
okay.
America. Were asleep when masked intruders stormed their home because they didn't have guns and stole valuables because they didn't have guns before making off with their Lexus SUVs because they didn't have guns. According to local reports, the thieves already had one of the car keys and attempted to enter the couple's bedroom to grab more. They already had Layla's car key when they tried to come into the bedroom to get the keys to the other cars, Hamid told Today. He said the intruders grabbed random items, including a vacuum, gym bag, and shoes before leaving. After being woken by the noise, Hamid chased them out and called police. And you know why he was able to just chase these bad guys out? Because the bad guys also didn't have guns. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. He claimed officers never arrived, and the group returned shortly after. Oh my goodness. That's when they took the Lexus and fled. So Hamid said he called police a second time. And this is the thing. Cops often will give you a big fine and do something like this when they're mad at you for pointing out that they did something wrong. So I bet this is what's happening here. Let me explain after we read a little more into it. Hamid said he called the police a second time, but 3 weeks later, officers have still not attended the home. Instead, the couple received a notice from transport authorities informing them they had been fined $6,258 US or AUD, so Australian US dollars, after a traffic camera captured the stolen SUV being driven without a seatbelt. That's crazy that can even happen to you in Australia.
Yeah, no, this is a thing. They put up these what's the word I'm looking for? Like randomly these camera things on the highway at night, and they take pictures of you as you drive by, and they give you fines for not wearing your seatbelt.
Disgusting country.
Or for holding your phone in your hand, or for anything else. Yeah,
well, don't they do that here in some states still, too? Like with the cell phone and the seatbelt thing?
Like
Like
the
red light
and
cameras?
stuff. Yeah, not in New Hampshire.
Not in New Hampshire, but
yes.
I mean in the United States.
That's why I said maybe this happened in California. Yeah. I don't know specifically if that happens in California, but
well, we have red light cameras in many parts of
Washington
the country.
State was the one that is going to or did impose.
is
this
ticketing
thing.
people for being on their phones on the cameras, isn't it?
I don't know about that one, but what I was going to say was doing the smart sensor thing where they're using like, what are the things that fly around in the air? Satellites.
Drones?
Satellites to
No? Oh, okay.
determine your speed and just automatically ticketing you and turning your car off if it. I can't remember. It's called like intelligent speed watching. I don't remember now. But anyways, we talked about it on the show before. So I'm just saying that's pretty freaking draconic. Wait, what's the word?
Draconian.
Draconian. Says the infringement is reportedly due by March 3rd, with the threat of additional fees if unpaid. It's been about 3 weeks and the police still haven't arrived, Hamid said. And unfortunately, we've now received an infringement that Mr. Bad Guy wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And what's so ridiculous about this is like the cops haven't even showed up so they can explain themselves and like maybe get. I mean, like maybe they should go to town hall. But
this whole it's. I wish I could really put this all into words about what's happening right now. Everything is becoming automated. And the thing is,
can't argue with AI.
They're but they're automating everything in a way to where it's like if you're just a normal person, right, driving your car and you go too fast or you don't do this or blah 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 blah, you have no hope. You are screwed. You will have to pay those fines. There's no way you can get out of it. Whatever. But yeah, criminals who just don't have their cell phones on them and show up with a knife or whatever, because this is Australia, they don't have guns, can just steal your stuff, and the police have no way to go after that. Because that actually requires them to do something other than let a machine do it for them. The police have actually, in the same thing in the United States, have become incredibly lazy. They're relying on technology to do all of their work. Back in the day, they'd have to like case a joint, not case a joint, that's what the criminals do, but they'd have to do, what do they call it, where they sit in their car and they're watching all day to wait for the people to leave to like see where they go.
Okay.
There's a word for it. I can't think of it. Do you know?
Keep watch.
But surveil or whatever.
Yeah,
they had to do that. They had to have like 1 or 2 cops actually do that. They had to use a car. They had to drive to a place and follow somebody around like the mobsters.
Oh, like they're tailing people, like stakeouts and
stakeout. That's the word. Yeah, they'd have to actually do stakeouts, and they don't have to do that anymore. They're just like, somebody robbed a place or whatever. Let's just look up every phone that was in a block radius, and then we'll just randomly. We think this guy might be the one.
Someone used a hammer. Let's get Home Depot's receipts and everybody who bought a hammer we're going to arrest.
Yeah, exactly. They have actually, interestingly enough, no defense against a Unabomber type guy if somebody's smart enough to do that again, because other than DNA evidence, which they didn't have then.
Bad enough to do
that
again.
Well, I mean smart enough, clever enough, as in, able to look through all of their systems and stuff, because he was just using junk from the junkyard. So there's no way, like, even if you know that it's a hammer from Home Depot, it came via a junkyard. So you have no idea to know whose it was. It's a 10-year-old hammer or whatever.
A 600-acre AI data center could cost some Wisconsin residents their land. Tom Utek has lived on his 52-acre property in Soakville, Wisconsin for nearly 40 years. Yeah, I know you did. You got this 52 acres back in your boomer youth. From outside Utek's home art studio.
I was able to earn that.
I shook his hand.
Bussing tables. Yeah, I shook his hand and he gave it to me.
From outside Utek's home art studio, the landscape is filled with rolling hills toppled with water or wildflowers, but I don't really want to read that. I want to see.
I hate all the journalism.
Yeah. That kind of scares me because I didn't think I was that old, he said. Blah, 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 because it's just talking about his art. A lifetime of work, he says, now come under threat after receiving a letter in the mail from his utility company informing him that a massive power line would need to be built through his property, undoing years of work and stripping away the muse for his art. And I understand why they had to put all that at the beginning, because he worked to make like a beautiful property for his art and inspiration, and he deserves to be able to do that if he wants. I couldn't believe it, and I still don't, Utek told ABC News correspondent Elizabeth Schultze when asked what his initial reaction was to the news. They'd be putting power lines that are 300 or something feet tall, taller than apparently the Statue of Liberty. Holy crap.
So I guess it would be like the big metal ones that almost look like people standing.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
They're like the A-frame looking power lines, the huge ones.
You'll see like a bunch of trees cut down and
like a 250,000 volts.
Yeah.
Utek later learned that the transmission line would be used to help power a massive $15 billion data center campus that's set to be built on over 500 football fields worth of farmland in nearby Port Washington, a signature part of the Trump administration's $500 billion Stargate partnership with OpenAI and Oracle, which President Donald Trump hopes will help supercharge the artificial intelligence revolution.
Mass surveillance revolution.
Exactly. Thank you for listening to Free Talk Live. More Free Talk Live at freetalklive.com. Thanks for listening. Peace.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. In addition to being one of the world's first cryptocurrencies, Dash was the first crypto project to have a decentralized autonomous organization that to this day continues to improve and promote Dash. Every month, 10% of the mining rewards go into a treasury. Anyone with one Dash to spend can put forward a proposal to the Dash masternodes. The masternodes vet the proposals and decide which ones move forward and are funded by that treasury. Nowadays, DAOs are plentiful, but Dash paved the way by doing it first, nearly a decade ago. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at dash.org. Thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org.
Eleutheromania. The insatiable desire for freedom.
We have been enslaved for all our lives.
It's the new 3-song heavy metal EP from Captain Kickass.
The next ones they will.
Available now on your favorite music app or get it directly from CaptainKickass.com.